Ah! Hello, hello. This is picture-in-picture layout, shift 7. Cinema layout, shift 8. Oh, crop layout. Stop cam, invite. C'est live. Mais c'est en privé, alors je vais mettre.
Mais t'as déjà comme annoncé à l'avance, absolument, que tu vas faire le live.
Et comment mieux ça marche pas? So, oh man, did I start it already? I thought the waiting screen was on. Like I got this thing, this thumbnail or picture, and it's written like starting soon. So I guess we're kind of unofficially started. Can you guys hear me? Let's see. Oh, okay. Let me show this. Aha. Hey, StreamYard is pretty cool. And I'm gonna answer that question in a second here. Powered by Duck. I don't know. I used to play Nintendo, and one of the first games they had was Duck Hunt. So this is actually the duck that I would shoot with an electronic gun. It's pretty cool. Back then, it was revolutionary. Like you could just hold a pistol, a plastic one, you'd aim it at the screen and you shoot, and the thing would die. And then you'd have a dog come and pick it up, and it was. I think you could shoot the dog too, but then that would kind of be dumb because, holy smokes, everyone's chiming in. Awesome. Okay, so listen, bro, I need to know if I'm good. If I'm good at BJJ without wrestling, can I succeed? Oh, in MMA, that's gonna be hard, man. Because you got to be able to bring the guy down to the ground to use your BJJ, because you're not gonna want to like just pull guard. To be honest, like pulling guard and being on your back in MMA is, from my understanding, and it's a big no no, because you're gonna you're gonna get pounded on for one, And then when you're on your back in MMA, the judges, when they look at that, they're like, "Oh shit, this guy's getting his ass whooped," you know. So you're gonna end up losing the round, and then you got to work for a submission and all that. So you definitely have to get some wrestling in there, man. I hope that helped. All right, on to, let's see here. Eric Chen sounds familiar. Yeah, I think I seen you in the comments. Hi, bro. How are you doing? Let's see what the question here is. When are you going to go over your last competition? Oh, yeah. You know what? I can go over that. Like the last competition I did was the nationals, you know, for Canadian nationals. Now, I wasn't able to film that myself because they had their own cameras and all, and it's national, so it's kind of like a big deal. So I couldn't just walk up there like I usually do on my tripod and just like start, just press play, press record, and then go on to the and then get on the mat and do my thing, right? I just realized that when I'm looking at the screen, I'm not looking at you guys. But anyways, but it was national, so they actually filmed it. Now, the problem with that is that they put the clip on Daily Motion, right? And it's like about 10 hours because that was just that day. It lasted, nationals lasted like 5 days, 5 or 6 days or something like that. And so that day alone is like 10-hour clip that they just like threw on Daily Motion. And then so I had to download that whole file, like of like friggin' 6 to 10 hours or something like that. And then I got to go find my fights. I actually know what number my fights are. It was like A9, A18, and A whatever 20 something. So I could find out. But the thing is, downloading it is a bitch. Like I haven't been able to yet. I don't know why, but I'm gonna try maybe some other time when there's less traffic on the internet. But as soon as I get that down, I'll show you guys like what's up, because I did win gold, right? And then after that, I got stripped because of them complaining after the fact, after we got off the mats. And so that's the thing, right? If you win a competition in judo, you get off the mat, like the fighters and the refs, then it's over. You can't you can't go backwards on that. And then just all of a sudden decide, oh no, well, we changed our minds. We looked at the tape. Like even if you looked at the tape, it doesn't matter. It's done. And so they reversed it. And that's like a crazy, crazy, crazy thing. Like it's unheard of. So we're supposed to fight that, me and my coach, but I mean, my coach is busy, guys, busy as hell. Me too. So I mean, I beat the guy. I was leading by Wazari. I technically hurt his arm, almost broke it. It cracked, and we became friends afterwards. Nothing personal, but I mean, yeah. And then they were saying essentially that I didn't. I was mean. I was ill-intentioned, and I didn't let go of the arm when the ref said mate. But the truth is, I didn't hear the first mate. I only heard the second one. I mean, you're fighting. You're in the heat of the moment in the action. So anyways, that's that. So as long-winded answer, but I'll get to that as soon as I can. But now that I'm doing this, I can actually go over videos and stuff like that, because a lot of them I have videos of me in competition. The thing is, setting that up where like I'm able to narrate it, because I'm not just going to post it like that, and because no one's going to watch it. You guys aren't going to be, it's not going to be, because it can get kind of boring if you don't know what you're looking at. But if I talk over it, it'll be good. But it's just, getting around to doing that properly, so it's actually quality content for you guys as well. But I'll get to that soon. As soon as I get that clip downloaded there, that 6-hour thing, and then after that, like cut it up for you guys. But that's that. All right. Let's see here. What's this? This is Ben. Hey, Ben. Yeah, that's Ben right there. Let me just go back up. Hey, this is StreamYard is pretty cool. You guys could hear me, right? Yes, we hear you. Got it. Okay, thanks, Todd. And let me go here. Okay, this one. Is it true you like to do judo on your wife? Oops, should have read that out. Should have read that before. So obviously, Div Down is, I don't know, I guess a troll. Is that what you call it? I could do judo on your wife. Being a smart ass, eh? See ya, buddy. All right, now, judo, Saad. Okay, judo or wrestling, best for MMA? Wrestling. Wrestling, definitely. Now, the reason for that is because wrestling is very. You're talking to master of shit talking. I can go, guys. I could go, and I've learned how to do it without being vulgar, right? And it is what it is. So like I'm down with that. So if I click on comments like that, then hey, I got I got thick skin, guys. Don't worry about it. So yeah. So judo, I'm gonna judo your wife, Devrystown. Yeah, and you know where I'm at too. So just come down, and I'll judo you, so your wife can watch. All right, back to serious business. Yeah, sorry, judo or wrestling best for MMA? Like I said, wrestling, and the reason for that is because when you train judo, you train it mostly with a gi, and judo don't grab the legs, and judo also takes a long ass time to learn. So if it takes that much, that's why it's faster for if you were to just go wrestling. So wrestle instead, you're gonna have it's gonna carry over a lot better. But if you already have a judo background and then you start wrestling, it's gonna be really good. Because you'll catch on really quick, and then you're gonna have tools at your disposal, like judo type of tools that wrestlers tend not to have. Okay, if that makes sense. All right. How much do you weigh? 70 kilos? Actually, now, let me. I weigh 152, 152 pounds. So in kilos, I don't. You'd have to divide that. Where's my calculator? Where is my calculator? All right, this is gonna be. It's usually on my bar here. I don't know where the hell it went. But you divided that up by 2.2. So let me do this on my phone because I got a calculator on my phone. I'm like spoiled rotten. Okay, so 170. Sorry, 150. That's how much I weigh, right? Divided by 2.2. I'm at 68 kilos now. 68.18. And usually I fight at 66 for judo. Oh, guys, there's an MMA event coming up in September. So I'm going to put out my name for that one. I'm going to I'm going to start training. I got 2 months. And of course, if they offer me an opponent that's decent, right? Because it's going to be my first MMA match. So obviously, like, ideally, I'd want somebody who's like 0-0, right, in MMA. And yeah, and there's one club here. I'm not gonna say names, but a lot of the guys here know. Like this club, if they offer you a fight and the guy is 0-0, like if you guys are in Montreal, I'll talk about it, but not live like this. But they're known to sandbag. So they'll be training guys for like 2 years, like a year, 2 years, guys that already have athletic backgrounds, and then they would wait, and then they would find an opponent for him. But then the guy's been training like 2 years. He has like a whole bunch of other creds to his name in combat sports and other martial arts. And then he comes in there and he's like, yeah, we're 0-0. And then he just smashes the guy. So that would be a school that I would be wary of if they offered me somebody and they would be like, oh, this guy's 0-0. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, all that to say that if I get the right opponent, I'm gonna do my first MMA fight. It's not gonna be it'll be the first, but it ain't gonna be the last because I want to compete. It's fun. I'm able to do it. I'm in good shape enough and all. I got some injuries like anybody who trains a whole bunch, but it's gonna be good. So sorry, that was a long-winded what do you call it, answer, but that's how I do things. Okay, on to the next one. Yada yada yada. Okay, solid. Okay, again, awesome. And how many years to be good in wrestling to prepare for MMA? Man, like it's going to depend on your athletic background, on your on you as an individual, like how fast you pick things up. Some people, like, they're very kinesthetic and they're very visual. They see something, they can replicate it, how much you actually practice. But I would say on average, you need a good 6 to 12 months. Like if you're fresh and you just start something, then you want to do that for at least 6 months to 12 months, right? And then should be good, because remember, like, it's not just pure wrestling you're doing wrestling for MMA, so slightly different. The posture is different, because you're not going to be like hunched over like this. You're going to get kicked in the face. Don't get kicked in the face. So yeah, that you need at least like 6 months to a year of training, and then after that, like, but it depends. Once again, it depends, right? Some people come in, they got like a big back, like if you already have like a judo base and all, like a strong judo base, and then you come do wrestling, like it's not going to take you that long. I've seen guys like national level judokas, they come over, they start wrestling, man, in 3 months they're like throwing everyone and doing all kinds of crazy shit, so it's pretty cool. All right, let's move on to the next one. Somebody said, ooh, I think, this comment here was when I told the other guy I was a judo is mama. You talk to the OG, you get judo mama, right? Whatever. All right, next. Oh, you again. I'm going to believe you have to. Oh, he was okay. So maybe he is a normal guy. I thought you were just trolling. Anyways, Saad, if you're planning on going into MMA to complete, you have to do wrestling. Yes, we already talked about that. Next. No. So, no, you don't want me to judo your mama? Hey, you started, bro. Okay, Brian Gallagher. Hey, Brian. Oh, okay. Just laughing. Not bad, eh? Okay. Oh, I mean training. Wait. Anyways, I'm lost. You're going to have to. How do I know a good judo school? I mean, by the school standards or of the affiliation or the training? Well, I mean, there was definitely the training and their results, right? So, like, if you want to if you go to a school and like the training's good and all that, and like, is it a competitive club? Because that's usually the two categories that clubs fall into. So you got competitive club, from my experience, and then you have like more leisure club for fun. So if you want to, there's a lot of good guys who train in leisure clubs. Like, don't get me wrong, they're not. It's just because they're not competitive doesn't mean there's no guys that are really good there that that you could learn a lot from and that could like whoop your butt. Now, with that said, it depends what your goals are, right? So the important thing is you go there, you see for yourself, you start training, you see like what the level is at. You don't really know until you really get into it and start developing skill. But I would suggest trying out more than one club if you can. But if your goal is like competition, then you definitely want a club that produces athletes and gets results. By that I mean winning medals. Winning medals is let me just try to fix this so that my face, so I could kind of look at you guys while I'm doing all this. Ta-da! Okay, there you go. So back to what I was saying. I hope that answered the question. Yeah, so you got like you'll figure like me at the level where I'm at now. Like if I go to a club and I train with people, like I know if the guys there are good or not, and then after that, it's a question as well as the ambiance for me, because when I started, it was I started at a pretty traditional type of club. So you come in, you got to be on time, which is fine for the most part. But then you gotta, you bow, and you bow again, and you bow again. There's a lot of bowing in judo, and you got to train, and then you got to be serious, So yeah, and you can just like it was very like disciplined, and that was fine. But the problem was like when I get there late because I had to work overtime or something like that, I would get a lot of shit, and I would get like blasted for that. That was kind of annoying, because like I understand if you're a schmuck, like if you're, I don't know, 12 years old and stuff like that, so they want to like keep the whole discipline thing going, but me as like an older guy, like when I started judo I was 36, so I don't need to be disciplined like that. I need like a club that's a little bit more understanding, for adults who like work. So, and also I couldn't film back then either, right? So I couldn't just like set up my tripod and all that. I would get yelled at and no, no, you gotta focus on your training, blah, blah, blah. So that was kind of like, whatever. So like while that's okay, like I really enjoy where I'm at now because the atmosphere is super relaxed, like very understanding. You could come late, it's not a problem. You could leave early if you have to, and it's not as formal. Like if you guys see some of my stuff on IG and all, and on my other YouTube channel, like OG Fitness Clips, what you see is that you see me training in shorts, literally, and just put the gi top on and tie my belt. That's it, and some knee pads. You could do that at my club. A lot of clubs never like the other. Okay, so so I went to right now. I'm learning the kata for judo, and so I go to this other club to learn it, and at the same time I found myself a uke there. Uke is like the partner that's gonna do the kata with you and all that. And I came in once and I wore black jujitsu pants and my judo gi. So I got I got roasted for that, and it was a big deal. It was really a big deal, and it's a traditional type of environment. So yeah, but once again, that's when I appreciated my club even more. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. Like I forgot where I was going with this, but yeah, that's the thing with clubs. I hope that answered your question. Sorry, went off on a tangent there. All right, let me see this now. Okay, so Saad, I hope you go MMA because you have background in grappling, but I don't know if you good in striking. Yeah, you know what? My striking, I've been doing kickboxing, and so doing working on my striking now. It's been maybe about over a year and a half, and boxing and then I was getting ready for a K1 fight actually, and that never panned out because I never got a proper opponent, meaning somebody that was close to my experience level. But while I was in training camp, like at one point, like a week out, we go into like some hard sparring, which was like wasn't the best decision, but the coach wanted us to like feel how it really feels like for a fight. And anyways, I was with a guy who was like, I don't know, like somewhere about 70 pounds, heavier than me. That's one. And then he lit me up. This guy had good boxing, and my kickboxing was okay, but like under pressure like that, like it didn't really held up. And yeah, so I got smashed in the face pretty hard that night. So then I was like, okay, well, I guess I need to focus a little bit more on my boxing. So guess what I did? I joined the boxing club, like in the same building, because we actually have a boxing club in the same building. So then I've been working on my boxing now for maybe 4 months. It's been like 3-4 months now. So my hands improve like drastically, because if you're doing it consistently for a while, it gets a lot better. And then from there, like now that I have my hands, I could tie it with my feet a lot easier, and I have a lot more structure when it comes to striking. But if I do MMA, you see, if I do MMA, I'm in MMA mode. So what that means is I'm not going to try and stand there and box the guy or kickbox the guy. I'm taking that sucker down. I'm doing it Khabib style, because that's my strength. Like I'm good at grappling. I'm good at takedowns. I do judo. I do wrestling. I've done BJJ. So that's my thing. Now, this on the striking end of it, I'm comfortable at this point. So when my coach reached out to the group, what was it, like 2 days ago, and he's like, "Hey, you want to do some this promotion reached out to me. You guys want to do it? Blah blah blah. I like these guys. They're good. They're solid. I'm like, yeah, let's do it, because I'm fine now. I'm fine. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm not worried standing up, and I'm not worried if it gets into a grappling situation. So we'll see what happens. Like I want to party. I want to have some fun. And yep, okay. What's up, Mikis Palmas? Hey, I don't think I've ever seen your name before in the comment section in YouTube. But yeah, thanks for dropping by, man. All right. Ooh, almost missed that. I really should get. This is the first time, guys, so it's gonna be a little bit, sloppy. So, until I get used to all this, and but it shouldn't be taking me too long. I mean, do this a couple of times, we're all good. Like heck, I do judo for Christ's sakes. This is not going to be an issue. Can't be. I mean, guys like PewDiePie do this stuff. They. All right. Judo 1. Hey, I have been doing judo for 7 months. Awesome. At our judo club, at our dojo, for the most part, we only have about 5 consistent people showing up, but only 3 who are willing to compete, including me. How can I get people to join? Okay. You mean get people to compete? Like at your club? Man, that's well, I mean, you already have 3 guys compete, like who are going to come compete with you, right? So there's but only 3 who are willing to compete, including me. Okay, so you guys are 4. So that's a squad right there. That's a team. So I'm not sure like why you want more, but you can. But more is always fun. It's always fun to, even though it's an individual sport, but going there together, it's nice. You all get to warm up together. You have collective warm up when you do judo. And then you feel a little bit more comfortable, more like, okay, you have a crew behind you, and you do your thing and all. So I would say just talk to the guys, man. Tell them, hey, let's compete, and like see what they tell you, and like try to get them to, hey, we're all. The way I would approach it is like, guys, we're all doing it. Let's go. And after we compete, we go have a beer, and go to strip joint. Win or lose. That's it. You got to make it a thing. And I think that you need some kind of cohesiveness, ideally, even before like the competition. So at my first club, like we'd always go out for drinks after judo practice. So that would be on Monday, Wednesday. And and we're a tight group, and we're like a crew, and we'd hang out together like outside of the club. And in competition, well, competition was competition, so we just all went and supported each other, even if we didn't compete, right? And that's another thing you could do too. So if you don't, like, if the guys don't come compete, tell them to come and hang out, come and watch, and film you guys, and support the team and all that. So that would be one way to do it as well. And then sometimes what happens is that the guys come, they see you guys fight, they get excited, they're like, oh shit, this is cool, and then after that they come on the next one, right? So that's always that's one way to do it. Okay, on to the next one. Whoa, that went up too fast. This is awesome. You guys are rocking and rolling here. Oh, and I got is that like 15 live viewers? 15. Ooh. It was like at 7 a couple of seconds ago when I wasn't even looking, and it went up to 15. Awesome, guys. All right. So, here you go. So this one here. Okay, let me just show it. I don't care. Somebody writes something funny, then it'll be something funny on the screen for you guys to see, right? I'm going to Brazil to train Bjj in November. What about judo in Brazil? Is it big? We have a black belt in judo at my club who's Brazilian, and Brazil is pretty, from what I remember him telling me, it was him or somebody else that we had this conversation. But yeah, judo is big in Brazil, man. And somebody I remember in the comment section might have mentioned this as well, explaining that like in Brazil, it's pretty. People now want to do judo more. I'm not sure why, but there is some really good judo in Brazil from what I've heard. So definitely, man, like go there and have fun. All right, next question. What is your opinion on the no leg grab in judo? Did you train before this or not? Do you think this limits judo? Okay, so this is, let me answer this part first. Did you train before this? When I started judo, it was already banned. So I never knew judo that way. I learned it like the new way, so to speak. Like without where you can't touch the legs. So that was that. But I have tried like training like Kosen style, where you can grab the legs and all that. And man, it's fun. It's a lot funner. I did a Kosen competition like a few months ago, and It was good, man. I really enjoyed it. It was you had so much more options. It was so much more freeing, because you had that option of grabbing the leg, so you could mix it up and all. Does it limit judo? Yeah, it does. To be honest, like I feel it does. It kind of those are nice things that you could do, like Kataguruma and all that, and just countering, picking up the guy's leg, like picking up, I mean, not the guy's leg, but, by the leg, high crutch the guy and just slam him. It was pretty cool. You could double leg a guy. And it definitely takes away from it because, I mean, it's half the body, right? And now all of a sudden things are different. Like because you don't have, you can't grab the legs now. Like when you can't grab the legs, you could stay upright. It's not a problem. You stay upright. You're not worried the guy's going to shoot on you. So you're always just fighting upper body, the grips, upper body, and all that. So I think it really does take away from the sport. But who knows? Maybe eventually they'll put it back. It changes depending on what they feel like doing. And yeah, so I think like when they changed the rules, they were saying like, oh, it's because like it's starting to look too much like a wrestling. That was the official reason. It's starting to look too much like wrestling. Guys are grabbing the legs and all that, and double legging, single legging, and all. But right, like the people were saying, no, that's not true at all. It's because Japan started getting their asses kicked, by the Russians and the Americans. But it is what it is. So anyways, let's move on. Oh, look at this. Kung Fu Panda. Hen, it comes to MMA or sparring. Okay, when I thought he was trying to say Hong, and then wrote Hen instead. But anyways, okay. When it comes to MMA or sparring, any tips for going against bigger dudes? Comes to MMA or sparring. Okay, so for going against bigger dudes. Okay, so ideally, like I had this conversation with Quan Kicker, another YouTuber, and he brought up some good points. He was saying that if you go with guys who are a lot bigger than you, it's actually kind of not worth it, because as a smaller guy, what's going to happen is that you're just going to practice it's just going to, like, you're working on your toughness, because you're essentially going to get a beating. That's what's going to happen. Now, and then they get to, I don't know, work on stuff, I guess, like certain techniques that they might not really try with other guys their size and all that. But generally, Quan was saying that what you need to do is, like, you want to go up against guys who are, like, let's say you're here. Okay, you don't want your opponent to be like here in terms of size difference, right? You want it to be maybe 1, 2, 3 at most, right? Levels higher or levels lower. And so tips for going against bigger dudes: be careful, be very careful. So that means if they're really bigger, like, you got to be ready for it, and it wouldn't be recommended because you don't get anything out of it. Because the thing is, like, you do, in a sense that, okay, for like martial art experience, it's good to be able to fight and adapt to guys who are bigger and stronger than you. But for the sport itself of MMA, like, there's weight classes for a reason, because it would be a massacre. So that's my and you got to pick your partners carefully, because you have to have partners that could control themselves, and for that, well, they have to have experience, and they have to have a good they just got to be like reasonable people. There's guys out there that are big, but then they'll be like, yeah, okay, they'll still beat on you because they're just like, whatever, they'll just use it as a punching bag. They're very selfish that way. And there was this one time, so my buddy goes up against this dude, and he's not feeling it that day. Like, he was kind of a little bit tired and all. So then he talked to the guy. He said, hey, like, I'm a little bit injured already. So, can we not go too hard? Like, not too, like, not too heavy on the punches. And this guy was a lot bigger than him. He had maybe like 50 pounds over him. So what this big dude does instead, this is the guy's logic. Okay. He's like, oh, okay, we'll go light. So I won't punch you, but I'll kick the living fuck out of your friggin' leg, which is like, okay, so you didn't like, concuss him, but you almost broke his leg, or you're messing him up, So you see, like, you gotta be careful with that. There's not that many advantages to training guys that are too big. Like I would say in terms of weight difference, yeah, 50 pounds, like I'm 150, like, okay, the guy gets honestly 40 pounds, 200, like 200, that's more than, like, that's pretty big difference already, but that's as high as I would go. Um, unless you're really comfortable and with the guys. So that's my take on it. All right, next up. Okay, Saad, bro, if I have jiu-jitsu black belt and I'm not good at wrestling, I will lose in MMA. Well, not necessarily, man. It depends. It depends. Like you can, like if you jump on a guy's leg and manage to take it to the ground and then work your magic, like it could be good. But I mean, you have to have other skill sets too, right? Because you got to remember, like MMA is mixed martial arts. So now it's not like UFC one. In UFC one, like it was like one style versus one style, like jujitsu guy, karate guy, karate guy versus kung fu guy. So like they all had limited skill sets that came from their style. So like it was kind of like I would say the best man with the best technology wins, kind of. And at that time, like BJJ was the best technology. So it's good that you have like a BJJ black belt. But have you been trained, like, but what about everything else, right? Like Damian Maya did that too, right? He's a high level BJJ guy, and then he came into the UFC, and he was just choking everyone out. And his philosophy was, okay, I'm just going to show everyone that I could just beat the crap, like choke everybody out. BJJ, that's it. So he didn't and that worked for a while until people figured out, like, okay, now I just got to defend myself, and I'm just going to. People were like, okay, I just got to be careful of this, be careful of that, and then he started losing, and then he realized he needed to add into his game, so he wanted to become. So he had to add like boxing and kickboxing and all that, and then for a little period, he was like trying to strike more than he was actually trying to grapple, and then that didn't work. It worked, and then it didn't work, and then after that, he went back to his roots of like BJJ, but he was mixing it up a little bit better. But yeah, you see what I mean, right? So like, it's good, the BJJ black belt. Of course, it has to be adapted to MMA, right? Because a lot of things that you do in sports jiu-jitsu is just like, it doesn't work. It's pure garbage for MMA. So yeah, you have to train, like your jiu-jitsu has to be adapted to MMA. And well, listen, if you can't take it to the ground with takedowns, like, yeah, that's gonna, it's not gonna serve you very much. Okay, next up. So mainly to join the club can make rent. What? So mainly to join the club, so the club can make rent. I'm not sure what that meant, but okay. Next. The other two guys are in their 50s. I lost the whole pattern. Are you talking about? Are you talking about? Oh, the guys like who are doing competition. Was that you? Okay. Anyways, me and the others are around 20. Yeah, that's good. Well, they have like let's go back here for a second. Yeah, so you have guys who are you have weight, like you have categories and masters division in judo. So you can go all the way up to, like, there's guys who are competing who are like 80, 90 years old, so 50 is fine. They're gonna 50 fight another 50-year-old, no big deal. It's when you put a 50-year-old versus like a 20-year-old, and yeah, that's like disaster for the 50-year-old, unless he's really 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 solid and still in shape and all. But yeah. All right, next one here. Okay, I left comments on a couple of your community posts a couple of weeks ago, but I do have a question. Yeah, of course, and you should ask it here. Yeah, so that's the thing, guys. Sometimes in like I'm gonna make a more concerted effort, right, to get those questions out to you and all. And that's why I'm doing. I got a FAQ video coming up, and that's where I took. I put. I posted in the community tab. Like post your questions here, and I'm going to answer them in a video. So I'm going to do that like maybe once every 2 weeks, a month or so, and then I'm thinking of doing these lives so that I could really like talk to you guys, in person, in real time, and all, and answer like as many questions as I can. So I'll do a combination of both. Like I'll do FAQ videos where I'm grabbing your questions. I'm going to do lives like this to assist and all, so that I could give you guys answers faster, right? Because as the channel grows and a lot of questions are coming in, and it gets a little bit time consuming to answer them like one by one, and typing and all that. Like I do my best, but that's why I figure, this might actually be a really good idea. And so okay, let me see here. It's okay here, Jonathan. So hey, John, I forgot to message you, man. But thanks for hopping in. It's my buddy John. He actually taught me how to. He helped me with my striking, and he's been one of the guys who been beating on my ass for about 1.5 years now. So John knows. It's really big in Brazil. So we're talking about judo, guys, and we're not talking about something else. You guys ever heard that thing, big in Japan? I never got that. Like I know I'm big in Japan, but okay. So judo is big in Japan. No, sorry, in Brazil. And wait, shoot, the comments are like scrolling so fast. Too fast, guys, too fast. Okay, so let me. Yeah, so Mick is here, left some comments. I answered that. How old are you? Okay. There you go. How old were you when you had your first street fight, and how was it? And how was your first sport fight? That's a pretty cool question, man. First street fight. Let me think. Well, the first street fight, yeah. Like I actually, at the time, I was in high school, and I think I was 16. Wait. Street fight, like, because when I was a kid, though, when I was younger than that, like before the age of 12, like what was it, a fight? Yeah, I got into a fight with this kid, and I guess you can't really call it a street fight, because we're just kind of like hang out at a park, and we I punched him out and I threw him around a bit. So that's not a real street fight. Okay, fast forward to when I was 16. Yeah. So I had issue with this kid because he was hitting on he was hitting on my girlfriend at that time. And then so I went with a buddy of mine's, who was like at that age already like smoking cigarettes and hanging out with these Vietnamese kids. And they were like running around with machetes and stuff like that, like just terrorizing people, like it was. But so anyways, I went with that guy, and then we went to that school, and then the guy came out, and then we beat him up. So that was, I would say, the first one. So 16, and then there was a lot more after that. When I hit 19, oh my God, it was absolutely insane. Like I was in like street gangs and all that, and Asian street gangs. And that was, it was like, I wouldn't really call it a fight. I would call it a beating, because that's the thing. When people say, oh, street fight and all that, it's usually a one-sided beating, guys. That means that it's usually one or two guys on, 2 or 3 guys or whatever on one guy. Or, there's always like a group that's a little bit, more than the other, that outnumbers the other, and then just beats the living crap out of everyone else, and beer bottles, chairs, whatever, that type of stuff. A lot of bar fights back then for me. And so that was cool. And how was your first sport fight? The first sport competition that I did was Taekwondo, actually. So I did Taekwondo from the age of 16 to 19. And I wanted to compete. I was like, oh man, yeah, I do all this kicking and stuff, and yeah, I feel I'm pretty good. I want to go compete. So I went to a competition, and there was nobody there from my club. No senseis, no coaches, just some of my friends who showed up. that I trained with, like 2, 3 of them, and they were there. So I had my first fight, first opponent. I'm looking at this guy warm up, and I'm like, I could take this guy. He's not that good. His technique is kind of crap and stuff. So I go up against him, and I get completely destroyed, like completely. He beat me to a pulp. Like he just basically, in Taekwondo. So this guy was doing the double round kicks, ba bam, ba bam, double round kicks. So he goes like this. So he steps, he goes, bah, 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 bah. And he was just doing that, and he was kicking the living shit out of my legs, and my legs were fucked up after that, and he just beat the living crap out of me, and then I was really like, I was traumatized. I was crying in the locker room, couldn't understand it and all that, and then I realized that as good technically as I wasn't doing enough sparring. And then I found out that his club, that's all they did. They were like, screw technique, like whatever. You don't need to be ultra technical and precise and all that. You just need to know how to like throw them kicks to win fights. So they were sparring a lot, and yeah, I got my ass kicked. So that was that was my first experience in sports fighting. What is this? Okay, is it in NYC? So the rent is astronomical, 6K a month. I don't know in what context, but yeah, sure. NYC is expensive, man, from what I heard. Okay, moving on. By the way, one of my comments was about wanting to start MMA and fitness training at 39. To start MMA, do you mean starting MMA like training, or do you mean like competing in MMA and working out? So you could start like MMA is mixed martial arts. I think that it's you're never too old to start anything. Of course, you got to pace yourself and do things properly. You don't just jump in and kill yourself. You have to go with. You have to listen to your body. Fitness, always a good thing. You should be doing that for life. Competing, well, I'm doing it, so I would say yes. I don't see why not. Okay, and no prior experience. Well, take your time, man. Like here was what I got from, like, if ever you want to compete in MMA, then obviously you have to like talk with your coaches, and they have to, if they're good coaches, they're going to take a look at you and they're going to determine, okay, if you're ready or not. But if you're starting from scratch, no prior experience, you might want to train for at least like 6 months to a year solid, depending on how often you're training. And then from there, there's a couple of things you might want to look at. So for example, like Gabriel Varga, he has his YouTube channel, and he's like a multiple time glory kickboxing guy, like champion. And he was saying how three things that he likes to look at, to determine if you're ready for a fight is one, you have like really good defense. So two, you want to be able to do damage. So you have to be able to generate enough power in your punches and kicks and whatnot, okay, to actually do damage, so that like your opponent is actually wary of you to some extent, so he doesn't just come charging in and beat you up. And then the other thing is you need to have good cardio. So you have to be in shape in that regard. So you can't be like gassing out, after a round or anything like that. And you have to have good conditioning. So conditioning means that your body is adapted to it. So you're not like blocking a kick with your arm and then like, falling over and crying. Right. So yeah, but if you're new, I would say, yeah, 6 months to a year, man, at least. Right. Okay. Oh, shoot. Let me just go back up here. Okay, is this bro, you have do you have Snapchat and I need to call you? Is it okay to write here, please? No, I don't use Snapchat. And just send me an email, man. If you have any questions, like I like it to do it this way, because even though I'd like to be able to answer you guys one-on-one and all, the problem with that is that it's very time consuming, right? Like if I were to start like answering everybody one-on-one and giving them advice and all that, like it takes up a lot of my time. And so it's easier for me to just centralize everything and do it here. If you have something that you want to talk to me like in private, then send me an email at You guys have my email. It's always which one is it that I use again? OG Fitness Coaching at gmail.com. There you go. You should be able to find that like under my what do you call it, like a description and all that, like in in the description area of YouTube. So yeah, do that. Am I too big for judo? I'm 106 kilos. Well, no. I mean, there's a lot of guys. There's the weight category of 100 kilos and over, right? So that's what category you would be in, and you might have to either keep going up because guys like plus 100 kilos, some guys are a lot bigger than you, heavier than you, right? So you have to determine for yourself, like, okay, is your 106 kilos, how's your body composition? So how much body fat you have versus how much muscle and how tall you are and all that. So that's going to help you decide like whether you should be going down or going up, right? It depends on a lot of things. Okay, next. Thank you for your help. Yeah, of course. That's what I'm here for. All right. What do you think? Oh, I like this question. This is awesome. What do you think of Kimura versus Helio fight? Yeah, Kimura kicked his ass. Like I had a video on that. He mopped the floor with him, and the Gracies were trying to cheat, dude. Like they had the mats. Okay, the mats were like super soft and cushiony, and then they were trying to get into his head too. They were like talking shit a whole bunch, and then on top of that, they were walking around with coffins, and like really trying to get in his head and be dicks about it and all. And yeah, he got like, if you guys didn't know, but they were saying how like Helio got knocked the f out. He was out cold, So the first I forgot what was the first technique, but I think it was Osoto. So Kimura threw him, smashed his head into like the ground. He was passed out, and then Kimura didn't realize that Helio was passed out, so he just kept going. And then while he was cranking on his arm or something like that, he woke him up. Or while he was switching positions, so technically that fight pretty much ended first throw, and Helio was the one who admitted that. So the way I see it, it was like a no contest. Like Kimura was like considered like the best of the best judoka, like of Japan, and even I think even now I think he's considered the best judoka who ever lived. And he was a lot bigger than Helio too. So well, yeah, like and that's how Helio spun it too. It was like, oh, if I survive, it means I win. You didn't survive, you would have been dead. Like that's how it goes down. Like if there was no mats and he threw you, he'd crack your skull open and you'd be like that vegetable. There would be no BJJ right now. But luckily they cheated, so the mats were nice and soft, so Helio didn't die, and it wasn't the end of BJJ as we know it. And you guys know BJJ is basically just judo. I say that, but I love BJJ. Anyways, all right, next up. All right, Big in Japan refers to the song Big in Japan. Dude, okay, wait, well, no. Okay, really nice, badass song with 80s rocky motivational vibes, at least I think. Yeah, okay, that rings a bell now. I think that that makes sense. That might make sense. I think I might have heard that song. But yeah, I don't know. 80s music, 80s, 90s, yeah, like when it goes like too far back, like 70s, 60s, like whatever. Like people say it's good and all that, but I don't feel so. Okay, let's see here. Hey, it's Anthony. How's it going, bud? Everyone knows they're tough at 16. They're tough. Really? Okay. Yeah. I guess. Yeah. I think I was. Wait, was I? Yeah. I thought I was tough until I got beat up and cried, and then wasn't so tough anymore. All right. Am I pronouncing this right? Isle is strongest and powerlifting. Wait, is strong. Guys, it's been a long day. And here's the thing. I go to kata practice, all right? And I'm being abused by the guy who's teaching me kata. And he's like an old dude, like he means well, but he's freaking crazy, man. Like he keeps on insulting me. You don't know what the hell you're doing. You're probably, how do you not know this? I told you to. And you're like, what? And of course I gotta put my ego aside and just learn and just, because one of the things, the problem is that he's also has an influence on the judges here too. So I gotta keep, I gotta be cool and not what's the word I'm looking for? Not succumb to my basic instinct of, sorry, because the mic is here. I can't slap my own mic, but or just like wait for him outside and wait till it gets dark, Okay, sorry. Back to what we're talking about. Is strongman and powerlifting good for grappling MMA? Well, here's the thing with this. This is going to be kind of an interesting thing I'm going to tell you guys. What you want to do is you want to develop general strength, right? So to develop general strength, you don't need to do anything that's too dangerous. You just need like basic exercises, and when I mean basic, I mean really basic. So what you need is squat, okay, for your legs. That's pretty much basically all you need for the legs. Okay. And yeah, you need something to do something for your calves as well. But then the squat covers pretty much everything else. You need you need a horizontal push, a vertical push. Okay. Now vertical pull and horizontal pull. And you work your neck and you work your grip. That's it. So now when you do strongman stuff, now it becomes very skill specific. And because you're lifting a whole bunch of heavy stuff, like it gets dangerous too. So the general strength aspect of it will transfer over. And in powerlifting, like because you're teaching your body to explode, there's components of that teaching your muscles how to fire that are gonna be useful for explosive movements. But here's the thing: skills are very specific. So lifting a bar, exploding up a bar like this, yeah, it might teach your neurons to fire, your muscles to fire and all that, to activate at the right time and get it all primed and all that shit. But you never do this in grappling and MMA. We're not doing this. So you could do other stuff to fire up your neurons and get your muscles to be able to react that way quickly, okay, without having to do these things. Because these things it's a sport in itself. Like, imagine this. You play a sport to get good at another sport, but it's a different sport. Makes absolutely no freaking sense. Just think about that for a second, right? You're doing, and strongman is a sport. So is powerlifting to get good at another sport. So yeah, you're thinking more in terms of, okay, I'm going to be really strong and that's going to be good, but you just need to get your muscles bigger and you'll be stronger. Or sometimes it works in reverse. Some people actually get stronger, then they get bigger. But to get stronger and bigger, you just need to do basic ass exercises, recover, eat enough, sleep, drink water, and have a couple of veggies and a bunch of protein. There's couple of more details that go into that, but that's the gist of it, man. And a lot of it is genetics, guys. That's what people don't tell you. And that's why I'm slowly moving away from like personal training, because it gets redundant, man. It's like I just got to keep selling to guys like, or whoever I'm training. It's like, okay, well, dude, you just need to do this and that and that and that. And after that, like if you actually train less, you'll get bigger. And then people are like, but I got to train 5 times a week and I got to do this. Yeah. That's why you look like shit and you're not strong and you keep getting busted up in training because you're a dumbass. So it gets a little bit tiring. So now I'm just like, you know what? Do your thing, homeboy. I'm gonna do me. I'll be the jacked, lean, strong guy at 43 and beyond, and doing my thing and busting ass and breaking heads and all that, while you like scribble and squabble and do redonkulous shit and be out by the time you're 30 years old. You'll see. All right. Next up. What books would you recommend on Kimura? I do not know. I never like I've heard that he wrote a book and it was in Japanese. I don't know if it was translated in English or not, but oh, dude, you got to go to you got to go on Wikipedia. There's a lot of Wikipedia and just on the internet, man. There's like articles and articles, and even on Wikipedia, it's pretty freaking long. Like if you read that, you're gonna get like some pretty good insight already on this man's life. Me personally, like I used to be really into books, and I do enjoy reading and learning and all that. But it's a time thing now. I'm kind of running out of runway. So what I mean by that is I'm 43. So on average, people die at 70, 80 on average. So obviously, like I believe I'm gonna live like a long ass time, easily, like 100 easily, maybe hit 120, who knows, maybe with science and technology, maybe I get, 150, 200, maybe I'm really immortal. I don't know. But all that to say that, okay, let's say I'm gonna die at 80, right? So that means I got half of my life gone. So I ain't wasting no my freaking time reading books. It's too long, and I can't speed read. Like I tried it, and it takes time to develop. But what I do instead is I get audiobook, right, and then I put that shit in 2x. So you listen, boom, done. Next, So that's what I would do if I wanted to read a book on Kimura. I would listen to it instead. I wouldn't read it. And yeah, so sorry about that. But start with Wikipedia and just a Google search. Maybe you'll find some good books there. All right. Oh, shoot. Keep on. Every time I press on the button, it goes up. And then I got to scroll back up to find the question. All right. Kip Chica. Hey, this is new one. Okay. There's no one before Kimura. No. Yeah. That's what that's legend has it. Legend has it. There's no one before Kimura, no one after. That is so cool. That is. I think it's practically cooler than anything Bruce Lee even said. And I'm a big Bruce Lee fan. You guys noticed that, right? Like, let me try to fix the camera here. Like that poster behind, that guy. That's not me. That's not painting of me. I know what us Asians tend to look alike, but that's not me going like that, right? That's Bruce. Yeah. So. All right, back to Kung Fu Panda commented 106 is really not that big. Yeah, exactly, right? It's not that big. 106, like in terms of pounds, god damn it, where's my calculator? Like freaking thing disappeared, man. Don't know what's going on. It's blame it on PewDiePie or Mr. Beast. I've been watching those guys and I'm like, how did these fools get so big? They ain't talking no martial art, some masculine stuff, some cool stuff like this. They just like Mr. Beast just giving money away and doing crazy shit. And PewDiePie just seems to be like complaining in front of his, he's like, you see a lot of zoom ins and zoom outs. And then he squeals and complains about stuff. I'm like, really? Oh, anyway, sorry. 106. So 106, sorry, I think in pounds, guys. So 233 pounds. Yeah, that's not too big, man. It's not. But anyways. Bro, if I train for 10 to 20 years, you think I will be tough in UFC MMA? And what is this fastest way to lose weight? Do you mean that? Okay, so if you mean that if you train for 10, 20 years, would you be good, or good enough? Or, well, you definitely be good. How good would you be? Well, it's going to depend on a lot of factors, but it's like if you do something for 10, 20 years, I mean, you're busting the 10,000 hour rule, right? So there's a rule where if you do 10,000 hours of anything, that's pretty much like you pretty much become an expert at that, So, and usually that takes about 10 years, like for 10,000 hours, 20 years. Now you got like, double that. So then now you're really like, there's levels to the game. There's expert, and then there's levels, within expert as well. So you'd be really good for sure. Fastest way to lose weight. There is. You got to follow. I would say. Mm, hmm. That's a very good question. I'm thinking because there's a lot of way to go about it here. So, like, I'm thinking if I had like a ton of weight to lose, uh, here's the thing: I would stuff my face with protein, so a high protein diet, right? Of course, you got to get in your veggies and all that, and your healthy fats. I would get carbs, but carbs I would just I would eat those after my training sessions. So during the day, I would eat proteins and fats and veggies and some fruits, and then carbs on in the evening when I train. And then right now, what I'm doing is I'm alternating. I'm doing intermittent fasting, but I'm fasting. I'm alternating my days. So one days I'm eating normal, and then one days I'll wait like a good anywhere between 15 to about 20 hours of fasting before I eat that meal, right? And yep, that's the way I would do it. And of course, you got to build muscle, and you got so this is a loaded question because it's not, like I want to give you useful information, but like complete information as well, as complete as I could possibly give it in a couple of minutes here. So definitely, and then from there, you want to be able to, I would say, sorry, just cracking my neck. Fingers are a little bit tight. So what was I saying again? Yeah. So you want to, so you want to lift weights, right? Definitely, because you want to build up like muscle. The more muscle you have, the faster your metabolism. And also, what you want to do is you want to get in cardio, because cardio burns calories, right? When you lift weights, it doesn't actually burn that much. Like that's the long game. You build muscle, you're gonna have faster metabolism and all that, so you're gonna burn more calories at rest. But generally speaking, you want to build muscle for the long term, and cardio, like moving a lot, is what's going to burn calories. So cardio doesn't mean you got to go running. You could walk. You could walk really fast. You go swimming. Oh yeah, like swimming burns a lot of calories. But then after that, the problem is when you work out a lot, you get hungry. So now you got to be able to bypass that. So there's a lot of, so that's why you got to stuff your face with protein and vegetables and fiber, protein, fiber, and healthy fats, right? And you still got to keep it. You got to be at a deficit. So the way you know if you're trending down properly is you got to take your weight like at least ideally 7 days a week. But if you're a lazy ass like most people and myself included, so that's not an insult, you take your weight Monday to Friday in the morning, right? And then you take the average of that, and that's going to give you your average weight. Then you compare it with every consecutive week. You do the same thing, always average versus average, and you got to be trending down. So you want to lose like about 1% of your weight, not more than 1%, right? Of your weight in pounds per week. That way, you're making sure you're not like losing muscle mass at the same time. So it depends on how much weight you need to lose, but it's not. What was I gonna say? It's a process, man. It's a process. People want to get it down quick, but that's like saying I want to go to. You start judo and you're like, I want to be a black belt as fast as possible. How do I do that? People look at you like, there's not really a fast way, but there's there's ways of going about it that will ensure that you get there, right? But yeah, I hope that made sense, man. Okay, let's see here. This is, oh shoot. Okay, just shot up again. Okay, Kimura versus Yamashita. Who you got in their prime? Man, you're gonna have to forgive me for this. I have no idea who Yamashita is. I'm not like a big history buff when it comes to like judo and big name. Like I know some big names, but I don't really know like all their achievements and all that. Because I'm kind of like, I know it sounds weird, but I just like to practice it and do it, and then I'll catch glimpses of guys here and there and people talking about it, and I'll check out the videos. But I mean, I don't. I spend so much time training that I don't really have time to research. But so I would have to look up who Yamashita is, and like what are his what he's achieved and blah blah blah, and if they're in the same weight class and all that. Because Kimura wasn't small, man. He was a big dude. So I can't comment on that intelligently. But obviously, I know Kimura, so in my mind, it's like, oh yeah, just pick the Kimura guy. Oh, here you go. Thoughts, Bobby Bone Boy. All right, cool. Thoughts on John Danaher, and do you think he's the brightest mind in martial arts today? Man, I think the man's a genius. I really like the way he analyzes things, the way he thinks about things, and he did like come up like he developed a death squad, and he made leg locks cool and functional, and something that it's not just a little like side thing that some weirdos would do, to get a win and all that. Yeah, John Danaher is the man, man. Like a lot of respect for him. So when you listen to his video, guys, he takes his time and he talks slow. So what you do is you 2x it, and yeah. But other than that, John's the man. John's the man. And did you guys know that he actually coaches striking as well? So I'm pretty sure that like what he did in terms of like leg locks and grappling and all that, like he could probably do something pretty good there too. And he's a real hardcore student of the game. That's all he does. Like I remember hearing in a podcast, like he just basically trains all day, like gives his classes and all, then goes home and then watches tape, goes back to the next day, and that's like 7 days a week, nonstop. Like that's his life. So he doesn't. I don't think he's married and has kids to be able to do that kind of stuff. But John is definitely the man. Like, wow, what a. It's really. I think we're really lucky to have a guy like this and to have the internet, so that a guy like this could actually like talk and communicate with people and reach millions and millions of people with his ideas and all that. Whereas before, I mean, there's always minds out there, but a lot of them are like not. I would say like before the internet, there's a lot of guys out there, but you don't know who they are. So, you can't really go see them and learn from them. And I'm sure there's guys out there who are great as well, but who are just maybe like camera shy. They just don't like the spotlight and they don't, they stay in the background. Like, for example, is he the greatest mind? He's definitely among the brightest minds in martial arts. To say that he's the brightest, don't know, because you'd have to have him. You'd have to be able to compare him with other dudes as well. And so, like Teddy Riner, right, the French judoka that was 10-time world champion, 2-time I think Olympic gold medal, and then he went for his third one in Japan, but wasn't able to get it. But let me ask you this: who's his coach? And you guys best believe there was a coach behind that, a couple of coaches and sparring partners and all kinds of, like, there was a team behind Teddy, and nobody knows who his coach is, because his coach isn't like, it's not like if you could just type in Teddy Riner's coach, you might find like a 1 or 2 clips and you might, but he's not there talking and making courses or anything like that. So there's some people who are really bright as well. It's just that we don't see them. So if we don't see them, we can't really compare. But John is definitely like, if like, this is just an opinion, but I think if there was like top 5, top 10, he'd be there for sure. All right. So yeah, I want to develop that old man strength. I already have a lifetime of physical labor and no major injuries. I want the hard conditioning. Well, let's see here. If you already have a lifetime of physical labor, that means that you're probably already old. So you might already have that old man strength. And I think that when people say old man strength, it just means you're definitely as your muscle matures, it could like contract harder and longer because you're more used to your body, you're more in tune with it. So you know what it can do and you know how hard you could push the thing. And I think that's what people refer to when they say like old man strength, right? Because you're more you're just a little bit more, you have more endurance when it comes to like contracting your muscles and stabilizing it and keeping it there. So it's just kind of like having more time spent in your body and like doing physical stuff, if that makes sense. I know that wasn't very scientific, but it is what it is. But definitely, yeah, you gotta keep working out and keep strength training, which is really important, And yeah, I mean, like it's funny that you say that, but I feel as though now when I go up against teenagers, yeah, like I have compared to them, I'm like really strong, right? Because they're teenagers, they're not fully developed yet. Then when I go up against like 20-year-olds and all that, like some of them are strong too, man. A lot of them are stronger than me and all that. But I think that what it is that we tend to get a little bit more stiff too as we age. So maybe that's where like this old man strength comes from thing, like this idea of old man strength comes from. But it's just that we're more we're a little bit more stiff, and we're able to manage that strength a little bit better. We're more used to contracting the muscles for extended periods of time like that, and like recruit, because we're used to, we're better at recruiting our muscle fibers. So yeah, that's what it is in my opinion. Okay, moving on. Okay, so who is best jiu-jitsu player in UFC in your opinion? That's a jiu-jitsu player in UFC, eh? Wait, I'm thinking who's, man, I can't come up with one for now. Like the best jiu-jitsu player that has really good jiu-jitsu, and that like I was gonna say Islam Makhachev, but it's not really jiu-jitsu, is it? It's sambo and Russian wrestling and judo. So Oliveira. There you go. So yeah, that's my pick, Oliveira. He submits people like as soon as, like, if he cracks you and he jumps on you, like you're in trouble, and gets your back, like you're pretty much screwed. Like it's guaranteed that practically guaranteed that he's going to choke you out. So I would say Charles Oliveira. Big fan of his, and I can't wait to see his next fight. He's waiting for Conor, but I mean Conor's going to be easy fight for him. He's going to punch him once in the face, and then he's going to choke him out. And, but it'll be fun just for the. Actually, I was going to say, like, it's always fun to watch Conor for the trash talking, but I find now he's kind of lost his marbles. Like he's made too much money, so now he's all he's doing way too much coke, in my opinion. And now his shit isn't funny anymore. It used to be funny, witty, quick, but now it's just dark, And what I mean by dark is that he's just like a dick. To be honest, he's just like mean. He's like, I'm the best. I'm the best. You're a piece of crap. Blah 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 blah. And you're like, whatever. It's not even funny and entertaining anymore, I find. But that's just me. Like, I guess it depends on. For the most part, that's how I feel about it. But some days, like if I'm in a more cheery mood, then I'll be like, yeah, Conor's cool, and he's kind of crazy now, but whatever, he's still cool. But yeah, so that's so Oliveira Jits UFC numero uno. All right, Anthony, any good recommendations for MMA instructionals? I like Khabib's shit, to be honest. Like, I got a copy of Khabib's How to Smash. That's how he pronounces it, Smash. And I really like that. But just a heads up for you guys, like if you're not an experienced grappler, it might be a little bit hard for you to grasp the concepts and to realize how, like, how deep it actually is. So that's one that I watch. I like Chael Sonnen's MMA course as well. I found that to be really good. Because he gives you a lot of principles and ideas regarding MMA and regarding, how to ground and pound, how you have to approach it. And I think that those two right there, like, are really, really useful for MMA, especially if you're a type of guy who has a grappling background or who wants to Khabib the shit out of everybody. And that's what I want to do. Like, this is how I approach it. If I do MMA, I go into MMA mode. So that means I go there and I smash. That's going to be my game, right? Take the guy down, smash him. Can't take him down, keep beating on him until I can take him down and then smash him. So that's my MMA game. Now, if I was boxing, I would wear my boxing hat and then fight boxing style. So I would have my style for boxing. If I do kickboxing, then I have my style for kickboxing. So I switch it up because it's a different sport. So you got to, and then when I do judo, I do judo. Of course, I mix it in with a little bit of wrestling, like Greco style and all, which with the grips and all that and positioning, which helped tremendously. But yeah, that's my take on it. But for MMA instructionals, those are the only two that I've looked at. Like I've looked at a whole bunch of other instructionals, like on dynamic striking and BJJ fanatics and all that. But those are the two that I've taken and watched, like specifically for MMA. And all the other shit, it was like for what do you call it? Striking, for boxing, for kickboxing, Muay Thai. So it wasn't specific to MMA, but those two are really, really good. Okay, next up. Shoot, freak thing just shot up again, man. Jesus Christ. Won't be long. Okay, so this one's good. BJJ or judo for strength and endurance? Judo, hands down, judo. Judo guys are gorilla strong compared to BJJ guys. BJJ guys are like pansies for the most part, and a lot of times BJJ guys always would be complaining, oh, the judo guy used too much strength. He doesn't flow roll. And there's a reason for that. One, because they're stronger than you. Two, because that's the way they're trained for their sport under their rule set. Like you got to be explosive and you got to go fast. And you got to, if you get to the ground, either go for the submission or hold the mofo down. And when you hold down, you got to pin them. So, like that's part of the sport. So if you practice pinning all the time and like contracting all your muscles isometrically to hold the bastard down, and you're able to do that for extended periods of time, that's where you develop like so-called judo strength. And then when you go up against BJJ guy just stuck, can't do nothing, for the most part. Of course, if the guy is high level BJJ and he lifts weights and he does a ton of conditioning and he's on steroids, then yeah, he'll probably be able to maybe fight back a little bit and all that. But yeah, judo for strength and endurance. Definitely 100%. No question. All right. Do you think BJJ is overrated and for rich Serbian white kids? Serbian white kids are rich? Okay, sure. Hear me out. They are still trying to sell BJJ as the be all and end all, especially these BJJ trainers who teach knife defense. Knife defense. All right. So it's definitely not the be all and all. I mean, dude, you're rolling on the ground. Like you have to be able to get a guy to the ground before you could actually beat him up, right? BJJ. Now, if you don't have takedown, right, and you have no striking, because if you want to take someone down, you have to get close enough. The problem is, it's not a BJJ match. People punch and people can kick and people, so you have to you have to have that skill set to close that distance, first of all. Then you got to bring it to the ground, and you don't want to go to the ground if there's more than one guy. Like you're gonna get soccer kicked in the head, And also, like if you look at sports BJJ, there's three secret. This is actually a video, but I'm gonna give it to you guys here. There's three secret techniques that you can do to pretty much destroy like almost 90% of BJJ techniques. 90%. You guys ready for this? Okay. So the first one is elbows. You use your elbows, you smash it into the guy's head. Let's say the guy's in half guard or you're in his guard. You smash him with your elbows. I mean, elbows are bad. And headbutts. Headbutts are worse. So if you're in the guard, you could headbutt the crap out of the guy, bam, 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 and you'll kill him. This was done in like the early UFCs. I think it was what's that crazy guy there? Like wrestler Mark Kerr, I think, or there was another one, or Coleman, or Coleman. Like they were just headbutting guys to death, and then they were cranking their heads and just pow, 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 finish. So you see, right here and here. Okay, that's two techniques. So there's actually four. And then after that, there's knee to the face. If you get to the ground and I knee you in the face, you will die. Maybe not die, but you know what? Like it changes the game completely. And then after that, there's another really secret technique. It's called the soccer kick. So if you're on the ground and I soccer kick your head, you're out. Like I'm gonna mess you up. Oh. There's actually one last one. So it's actually 5 technique, guys. You see, I didn't have time to think this through. This is supposed to be for a video, but I'll probably make a video anyway with images of people doing all the stuff that I'm talking about now, so you guys could have proof that it works in MMA fights. Like you guys watch ONE FC, man. Those Asian guys are all like kicking each other in the head and all. It's kind of cool. So, the other thing is the head stomp. So if I stomp on your head, like you could Baron Bolo, pack, step on you, pack, just like crushing cockroach. You're gonna turn into a vegetable quick. So those are So now knife defense. Man, I feel like the thing with knife defense, it's people show you a whole bunch of stuff, but here's the thing. Usually, like all the fancy stuff that they show you with knife fighting, I'm not sure if that stuff works, man. I'm not like a weapons guy or anything like that, but like this is what I would do, like just off the top of my head. Like if somebody has a knife, I'd be like, holy shit. Okay, so I'm gonna try to keep him at a distance and maybe kick it out of his hand, possibly, depending on where his hand is. And then I would like really try to keep a distance. But like if the guy gets close, you're kind of effed, man, to be honest. But what you're gonna want to do is control that hand, right? Like that has the knife. Now that gets even more freaky if he has 2 knives. But let's say he has 1 knife, then you would try to control that hand, and you'd probably get stabbed anyway. But then after that, you would have to take the damage, and then throw the guy or like like wrist lock him or something like that, or crack him in the face hard. Keep holding that hand, and eventually like just beat on him until he lets go of that knife, and then take that knife, and then now it's payback time, and you just you do what you got to do, right? So especially BJJ trainers who teach knife defense. Well, it depends. Like, do they have a background in like chop chop, in slashing guys up? Like maybe they're Krav Maga instructors as well. I don't know, So I'm not ready to say that, just because he's a BJJ guy, he can't teach you knife defense. But knife defense is like I'll eventually, when I have time, guys, like I do plan on training in all of these things, like like gung fu, gung fu, right? Like with guns, right? And knife fu and sword fu and all kinds of fu, right? Because it's fun, it's cool. And then I'd have more insight for you guys regarding that. But yeah, you gotta be careful about that. Like knife fighting, I don't know, man. Like if he's just a pure BJJ guy, and then he's like, okay, I'll show you how to defend knives and all that. Maybe you're talking about the 2 Gracie guys. I forgot their names, Hoyler and Euler. Guys, I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't click. Especially at this time, it's late. So yeah, the two the Gracie guys there that teach, like that give you their belts through internet. I'm not it's just the way I refer to them, right? I'm not making fun of them, but I think they show like some knife defense and self-defense stuff and all that too. And it's funny because they're like, oh, BJJ, for self-defense, blah 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 blah. I'm like, dude, BJJ comes from judo. Judo comes from was derived from like Japanese jiu-jitsu, and there's a lot of forms of Japanese jiu-jitsu. So when you say jiu-jitsu, it's a very big umbrella term for Japanese martial art. It's like the martial arts of the samurai, and there was different schools and all that. So did you not think that samurai guys did not know self-defense crap? Like they were walking around with swords and shit, you know, and katanas and blades and daggers, and that was their whole thing. So for sure, they know how to defend against, you know, knife and all that. They have their techniques, you know, in jujitsu, Japanese jujitsu, how to deal with that crap. So I would trust that more. But anyways, I hope that makes sense. Um, yeah, and I guess if do you think BJJ is overrated for rich Serbian white kids? Maybe. It depends on, you know, like the credentials of the instructor and all that. But BJJ is definitely not the be all and end all. Nothing is really. Nothing is like, you know, it's you want to be you want to be very well rounded and trained in everything, and that way you have you could use the appropriate tools at the appropriate time for the appropriate like circumstances, right? You can't just be like, I'm a grappler. I'm a grapple all the time. Guy pulls a gun. I'm a grapple him. You know, guy pulls a knife. I'm grapple him. 5 guys, get him grappled. No, it's dude. Like you do what the situation demands. But if you don't have the tools, then you're kind of screwed. Like you're like panic, and then you realize that you actually don't know how to fight. You know, because if you just do BJJ and it's not, you know, you don't have any striking or, you know, or yeah, you had no striking, kicking, or any of that stuff, and it's more sports oriented, then you might be in for a surprise. So I told this story once of this one dude that I that was at the same club as me, and didn't really train with him because he wasn't training a lot. But anyways, he was a purple belt, and yeah, like he went to his car and he got robbed. So a guy just walked up to him and just punched him in the, like they said, "Yo, give me your shit." And then he was like, "Oh," he froze, and then he punched him and took his they took his, you know, his computer, and they took his keys, and they took his car and they left. So that was a BJJ guy, like purple belt. Purple belt is like pretty advanced, you know, in BJJ. And but you know, he didn't have any striking, he didn't have any you know, obviously no killer instinct, you know, and you know, like he just got punched and curled up in a ball and got kicked, and they took his shit, you know. So I mean, that's BJJ purple belt. You know, me like first of all, guys walk up to me like, okay, here's the thing with self-defense, guys. As far as I know, I'm not a what do you call it? Expert in self-defense things, but one thing that I do know is that you want to be able to see what's coming. So like if people walk up to you, like the first thing you have to be aware of is the hands, right? Like because that's what they're gonna do something if they're carrying a knife or whatever. So you have to be able to take a look at that and make sure that there's nothing there that could potentially hurt you. You know, so you got to be very careful about the hands, but at the same time, I would want to keep a distance, and by keeping a distance, that's when you actually see their hands, so you have time to react. You know, and of course, if there's like a lot of guys, you know, then you kind of have to figure a way out so like so they don't surround you. Anyways, that's my take on it. Let me see this for a second here. Da, da, da. All right, let's go. Da, 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 da. Da, da. Okay, next question. I'd rather walk fast, which I do naturally, and sprint instead of jogging for miles. I run up and down stairs though. Yeah, I could agree with that. Walking fast, like great, you know, it's good steady state cardio, you know, and that burns calories, no problem, and it's easier on your joints as well. Uh, and sprints are cool because you know, it works your VO2 max and all, and it's like short periods of time. Just make sure you're properly warmed up. Yeah, jogging for miles, that's like a different. I think it's an acquired taste because you do get like a high out of it, you know, but then over time it can wear out your joints, in my opinion. You know, if you do it too much and you don't give yourself enough time to recover and all. And running up the stairs, that's tough, man. All right, let's see here. There are people. There are people are going to get people killed. They just want people's money. Yeah, you know, that's the thing. I think that unfortunately that's what it is. Some people like or maybe they really do believe in what they're doing, like they're delusional themselves, and then they believe in what they're selling, you know. So then after that, like it might be stuff that's potentially dangerous for the people who are like, you know, consuming and learning from them. But then, it's kind of like the responsibility of the consumer as well, right? Like you kind of have to do your due diligence. So what I mean by that is that you have to be open-minded, try different clubs. You can't just go to one club and be like, okay, this is going to be, like the one club for me. Like you guys ever heard of the term one-itis? So one-itis is when you believe that you found the one for you, in a relationship context. So that happens. Like I just thought about this, but that actually happens in martial arts as well. You do, like, you practice a martial art, and you're like, oh my god, it's mind blowing. Like BJJ, that's what happened to me. I started BJJ when I was 30 years old, and I was like, holy moly, this is the best thing. Like everything else is just pure nonsense. I could just take anybody down and mess them up, even if they have striking. I don't need striking. Blah blah blah. So you get into this mindset of this is the thing, the ultimate thing, right? And I think that that's a dangerous mindset to get into, because you don't know what you don't know. And the thing is, unless you train in a lot of different combat sports, okay, like it's a very easy thing to fall prey for. And then after that, like if you have after that instructors who just, I won't say take advantage, because like it's not. I got nothing against people like taking money to teach somebody else something, right? I mean, they invested a lot of time and effort and energy into learning a skill set, and then they want to teach other people and they want to make a living off of it. That's fine. Like McDonald's does that to everybody. Selling them stuff that is not really healthy for them, right? So it is what it is. But what happens is that it's up to the consumer to be responsible about it, and to figure things out, and to really test the waters, try different things, and not just be you know like fall in love with the first martial art they try, kind of thing. Usyk or Joshua? I know who Joshua is. Usyk, I'm not too familiar, so no comment there. Once again, I know some names, but I don't know all the names, and I'm just, oh, okay. Next one. If Khabib fights Charles Oliveira, who will win, and what do you think about Damian Maia? I think Damian Maia was great when he bursted on the scene, and then I touched on that already, so I'm not going to go back on it again. But at the time, Damian Maia was really the guy who was able to successfully adapt jiu-jitsu for MMA, in my opinion. Now, Khabib fights Oliveira, who would win? Ooh, that's a really interesting one, because I believe Oliveira has better striking, but Khabib would be able to, defend well enough to get Oliveira down. Now, this is where it would get really, really interesting to see if Khabib's grappling skills outclass Oliveira's grappling skills. That would be really interesting to see. Really, really interesting. And if I had to put money on it, I would go with Khabib. But you know how we're going to figure this out? When Islam fights Oliveira. That's how we're going to figure it out. Now, because Islam is basically a carbon copy of Khabib. He's basically Khabib 2.0. Like he's like a better version of Khabib. I feel he has better striking and better grappling, like more technical, more clean. Whereas Khabib was a pure savage. Obviously it was technical too, but I mean he just steamrolled over everyone. Whereas Islam will do the same thing, can do the same thing, and has been doing the same thing to everyone, but he's just like, I feel technically better, and so we're really gonna see like what happens there. And I think mentally he's pretty well. They're from Dagestan, so those guys are are from the mountains. So that's so I think Islam's gonna take it. And but I'm a big fan of Oliveira as well at this point. Like I wasn't before. I was like, he wins, he loses, he wins, he loses. But now he's like he's on a tear. So, and he's such a cool guy too. At this point, I feel. Okay, next. All right. Kung Fu Panda, BJJ, 100% overrated, but still a great sport. Yes, yes, absolutely. A great sport. Now, you know why it's a great sport? Because, guys, if you're starting grappling, like, what are your options? Seriously. You're going to wrestle? Dude, wrestling is hard on the body. And then for the most part, it's like you're going up against these 20-year-olds and the training is super, like even younger, they're super intense and, they're just all, they train so hard. They put their bodies through so much. That's like the wrestling protocol, right? So yeah, and what are you gonna do? Judo is really rough on the body too. Even though I started judo late and all, I don't recommend it to everybody, man. Like it depends, Like if you really love judo and you want to learn because it's just something that's ultra fascinates you, yeah, definitely. But if you just want to have fun and do something that's cool and learn some skills and develop yourself, like from the ground up, you're better off starting in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, man. Like there was an article I read once about a guy who went to Japan and trained in judo, and he was training at universities, and he was saying like one thing they do for older guys, right? Because a lot of times what happens like here in Canada is that when they're young, they do judo and then they climb through the ranks, they do their thing, and after that, like they stop, because it's just too demanding. There's like no space for um, for older judokas to keep practicing in. It's either ultra competitive, like really competitive, or where you have to invest so much time and energy and all that, and it's really hard on the body, and you can only deal with it when you're young, or it's like completely BS. It's completely bullshit. It's like guys doing kata and stuff like that, which is nothing against kata, but it's kind of not where the guy in the middle wants to be. The guy who's like 30 years old, he doesn't want to, and he's been doing judo his whole life, like 25, like 30. That's when it starts to like change a lot. He doesn't want to be hyper competitive, but he doesn't want to be doing kata either. So what does he do? So in Japan, they have a solution for that. They retain their black belts a lot because a lot of times what they do is that they do more groundwork. Now all of a sudden, like once they pass that stage there of just doing tachiwaza, like they come in when they can after work, because like Japanese cultures, those guys work, like they're always overtiming anyway. So then they come in when they can, then they warm up, they do their uchikomis, and they really focus on it. And then after that, what they do is once they're warmed up there, they go on the ground. So then they roll for about 15 minutes or so, and then 15, 20 minutes or whatever. So they warm up on the ground. And then after that, okay, they get up and then they start doing randori. And then you can sit it out. You can take a break here and there. You could do a couple in a row. So that's why Japan is able to keep a lot of their black belts going even after they're past that stage where like they don't have time to compete anymore at that level, and they just want to continue to stay in shape and to continue practicing the sport that they love. Here in North America, okay, like your best bet is actually Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because it's easy on the body. You're on the ground, so like you're not going to get busted up from the get-go. You're on the ground, it's safe, you could learn stuff, you could have fun, you can go 100%, not 100, but like you go pretty intense, and you get that rush, like you get that feeling of achievement, of that adrenaline, that endorphin rush, and all that good stuff, and you're doing something like useful, right? Instead of jogging. Like jogging would be another way of doing it, which is like I'm not making fun of jogging. Like I like to jog too and run. I started again, guys, because I'm planning on doing a marathon in September, a half marathon with one of my buddies. So I started training for that again, and because of that, it requires me to stretch out more, do a lot more yoga and a lot more stuff for my back, because I'm kind of getting busted up there. Ooh. So all that to say that, where was I going with this? Yeah, BJJ is a great place to start, man. It's a great sport, but you have to take it for what it is. It's a sport, and of course, if you want to use it for like self-defense and whatever, then it has to be adapted, right? So and there's a lot of schools out there, I imagine, that will help you do that as well. A lot of schools are very sport oriented. They're all allowed to win medals and all that, and that's fine. But there's schools out there where they teach more like traditional BJJ. It's more self-defense oriented, more for like, for realistic situations kind of thing. I think the Gracies, that's where they're headed with that. Like Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is more like, classic jiu-jitsu, where it's less about like fancy stuff like bearing bolo and all kinds of um, fancy stuff that you see a lot of guys showing techniques of. They do like basic stuff, but the basics is really all you need. Like one jiu-jitsu guy that I really really enjoyed watching back in the day is Crone Gracie. So he's Hickson Gracie's son, and this guy's jiu-jitsu was basic as it gets. Like he doesn't do anything fancy at all, but he was whooping everybody, everybody. Like then at one point I stopped following his career, and I'm not sure what happened afterwards. But he was whooping guys. He was whooping like I think he even beat Gary Tonin, if I'm not mistaken, at one point. He was getting his ass beat, and then he came back and he beat him. And his jiu-jitsu is fundamentals, basics, but like he does it at such a high level that it's and that's what you want, in my opinion, if you want to learn BJJ for more practical use, in terms of self-defense and all that. But honestly, it's a great sport, man, and it's kind of like a retirement sport too. Like imagine you want to do martial arts, but what are you gonna do? Boxing? You're gonna get concussed. It's hard to do it like in a safe way. Like I think I'm able to manage it. So I got a lot of thoughts on that. Like I'll make some videos. But then you do kickboxing. That's pretty hard too. Kicking, punching. Well, not as bad as boxing, because boxing you're just head hunting all the time. But those are like hard sports on the body, and if you want to walk around with a black eye and stuff like that, because of work or whatnot, because you can't be busted up like that, then yeah, jiu-jitsu, I mean, it allows you to get all that aggression out, and then you feel amazing afterwards. So definitely great sport. Anyways, I went on there for a little bit. Oops. Again with the flash. Aha. Okay. My uncle was a Japanese judo Olympian in 1980, and he told me a great story where he got absolutely ragdolled by Kimura in his late 60s, both stand up and newaza. That's awesome, man. Just that he met Kimura and he was, he fought him and all. So, yeah, Kimura, absolute legend, man. And I think he died of cancer. I think, yeah, because he was a big smoker, and and that's a funny thing too, right? Like I remember when I was training at my first judo club, I was hanging out with my coach, and they all drank and smoked. Nobody cared. Like it was more of a social thing, but I mean, it was a regular thing too. And then I was asking, like, "Hey, man, like, don't you think it's not judo like or whatever? It's not, like it's bad for us, He's like, "Yeah, of course it's bad, but you could smoke a pack a day and be a world champion. It doesn't matter." And he gave me some examples of that, and yeah, there are guys out there that like you could do that, because remember, judo is a power sport, and of course, like, yeah, at the elite level, like you want to have every advantage you can, but there's technique too, there's timing, there's experience, there's all kinds of stuff like going on, and there's trickery, and there's setup, and there's all kinds of stuff that you could do in judo, and it's about like a action reaction and body awareness and sensitivity. Like you feel the guy, you're touching them, and you guys know like sticky hands, like God darn it, the mic. Okay, so sticky hands where they're like, oh, they go, their hands are stuck, and then they start moving around, and they kind of feel each other, and then so there's a lot of that in wrestling and judo, like in grappling. So if you develop such a high level of sensitivity of where the body's moving, and you understand how the body can move and what this guy is setting you up to do, like you can counter to counter or set him up and do all kinds of stuff. And then, so what I'm saying is that, like, you don't have to necessarily be in tremendous shape and not smoke. You know what I mean? Like there's guys who are there who are just like, they smoke a pack a day, but they'll still whoop you. They're not cardio fiends. They're not gonna just attack. Like they don't even need to attack all the time. They just like chill out and they're just like, okay, working their grips, blah 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 blah. Okay, they're waiting, boom, then they'll explode. That's it, and then you're gone. You're done. And then they just beat you, but they smoke a pack a day. You see? But yeah, but I'm not I'm not condoning smoking, you know, because it could give you cancer. You guys, I don't have to tell you that smoking is bad for you, but obviously, like if you smoke socially once in a while, it's not the end of the world. It's what you do consistently over time that's gonna, that puts you a lot at risk. And sometimes it's genetics too, but you can't bet on luck in life, right? Because some people smoke forever and they don't get cancer. Some people don't smoke and then they get lung cancer. So who knows? Okay. Oh, cool story about Kimura. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Kimura is. I'm not sure. Are you talking about the uh, Kipchika story, or did I say a story about Kimura? No, I didn't. So okay, got it. Yeah, he ended up not going to the Olympics since Japan boycotted the 1980 Moscow Olympics. Yeah, sometimes, man. Okay, you guys are talking among yourselves. That's awesome. Okay, wow. How? Let's see here. How long did Kimura train with him? Oh, okay, you guys are talking about. Um, Kimura was an instructor at University of Japan and allowed Olympic prospects to train with him despite of his age. Yeah, Kimura is awesome, man. Yep, that was cool. Yeah, he told me it was nothing he felt before. Yeah, man. Old school. Old school. What's the best weightlifting exercise for judo or BJJ? Hmm. Best lifting exercises for judo or BJJ. I would say the basics, man. So the basics would be push pull legs, and for the push, there's vertical push, horizontal push, and then for the pull, it would be the same thing. For the legs, squat, and then yeah, do your calves there, because when you squat, like your calves activate, but they're not fully worked out as you should. So you should definitely work that out. You should work yeah, so really just basic stuff: grip training, neck training. You want to train the neck muscles, the grip muscles, and the calves. That's pretty much it, man. You don't need anything fancy. And then you got to practice your sport as much as possible, and you got to do drills and explosive drills, and all within the context of your sport, so you could like develop those specific skill sets of throwing or doing whatever it is that you're doing. So yeah, because like a lot of people out there like try to sell you on that, like, oh, you have specific protocol, you want to do Olympic powerlifting, Olympic lifting, to be more explosive and stuff like that. But I explained that already earlier on, so I won't get back to it again. But nah, man, skills are very, very specific. I'll give you guys an example, right? Like if you were to play baseball and now and you're a pitcher, so you pitch the ball, and now you want to get better at pitching. Now, should I start attaching a rubber band, a plastic, to the hand that's going to throw? So let's say this is my left hand. So would I attach a band here, and then strap it in back and have resistance that way, and then grab myself a heavier ball and then try to throw like this to get better at throwing, like the ball? No, that would completely throw me off. That would make it so that now all of a sudden it's like a completely different dynamic. The mechanics completely change, the physics of it and everything. So what you want to do instead is that you want to get your muscles big and strong, and then you want to practice pitching the ball, right? And you want to have like rest intervals and all that and proper recovery behind it. But that's how you do it. And of course, like you're going to want to work on your mobility, flexibility, and you want to work on the other side as well, because you don't want your body to be so off balance on one side. It's going to be regardless, but you want to balance it out enough so that it prevents injury. So the basics, that's all you need. That's really all you need. And you're good to go. And then somebody laughed. Awesome. Hey, Tony Ing, a Vietnamese countryman. All right. OG, have you trained with people who do construction jobs? Anything to learn from those guys? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Like training with people who do construction jobs? You mean construction guys? Yeah, they're strong, they're tough, and they got strong grips. Those guys I really respect, like construction guys who train, like who work all day. These guys, man, like they wake their ass up like at 4 or 5 in the morning. Like they got to be on site at 6, which is, that's pretty rough. That means you got to go to bed pretty early. And now if you work all day, and usually they're supposed to finish at 2 in the afternoon, so 6 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon, at 8 hour shift of working outdoors in summertime, and then they go indoors like so it's a rough job. It's dangerous, man. It's like one of the most dangerous careers that you could have. And then after that, to after that, go home, take a nap, and then come to training. Yeah, it's a grind, man. So my hat's off to all those guys, like super tough, durable guys. And they're cool, man. Now let's go to what is this? Okay. Whoa. Once again, I pressed the button a little bit too close there. Like there's the arrow that goes down and then the bar, and it just drops or goes up or whatever. Now I got to go back up. Okay, here we are. Whoops. What's this? Okay, why is a white belt considered the most dangerous belt in judo? You mean dangerous for themselves or dangerous for like other people? Okay, so let's see, thoughts on that. If you're a white belt, you're kind of belt considered the most dangerous belt in judo. Okay, let's start with for the white belt themselves, right? The white belt, usually what happens is that they haven't mastered break falling yet. So they're kind of afraid to fall, and they don't know when they're checkmate. So what I mean by that is, in jiu-jitsu, if you get into a certain positions when you let your opponent get to it, not that you let, but they get to a certain position on you, it's kind of checkmate. Like if the guy has your back and has both hooks in, okay, and has that rear naked choke, like you're kind of screwed, man. Like, and he has that lock in, he has the mataleon, like the rear naked choke on you. And now it's just like, you're done. It's finished. So the smartest, like you could resist, but whatever. I would just tap and like move on, or if you think you can get out of it. But now the thing with judo is that it's very different. Things happen fast, and the positions, unless you're taught, and it just happens so fast. Like you have time to react in BJJ when you're on the ground. Whereas in judo, like you don't have time, man. So if you're in a position where you're checkmated, like it's over, and you should be accepting the fall, but you don't, because one, either you don't know that you're supposed to be accepting the fall, or two, you're afraid to fall, and so you resist, or three, you're just stubborn as hell, and you don't want to accept the fall. And then the guy goes a little bit harder, and like he can't go slow and crank it slow. There's no cranking slow in judo. It's like, bam, you gotta explode. That's how you snap shit up. That's how things get broken, right? So that's why he's kind of dangerous. It's the most dangerous belt, to start like at the beginning. But then it's also dangerous for other white belts, because they're spazzy. So they try different things. Not everyone's like that. Some white belts are actually very like conservative and calm, and they don't go ape shit, and they don't spaz out and try and do a whole bunch of million, like. But some of them do, just like in BJJ. Some, like, you have very calm white belts, and then you got spazzy white belts. So if you spaz as a white belt in judo against another like white belt and stuff like that, then what happens usually is you guys fall all funny, your legs get entangled, and then you snap your knees, and then you fall, and then you kind of like extend your arms, you don't know what you're doing, and then you just mess up your shoulders and your elbow as well, your wrist. And of course, if you fall funny or you land funny, like you land on your head in an awkward way because you kind of don't know, your reaction isn't good enough yet, then yeah, that's how you could be a danger to other people, and you could be a danger to yourself. So that's why I guess I've never heard of that, but I understand it. Like I've heard of that in the context of BJJ, white belts being the the crazies there. So what I do with the crazies is that in BJJ I used to just smash them. Like I would take no chance. I would just, because they spaz out and then you get a knee in the face or elbow in the head and all that. So it's like, whatever. Let me just crush this guy and calm him down right from the get go, and that was that. Now in judo, I don't do that, and in BJJ now I don't need to do that either because I'm at a level where I can handle it. It's not a problem, and I already know how their body's gonna react, how they're gonna spaz out, so I could see things coming from from China. I'm like, okay, it's coming. He's about to elbow me because he wants to like muscle out of this position, whatever. So then I know how to block it. That's what I'm saying, and it's the same thing for judo. Now, if I get a white belt, like I know what to do. I know how to position my legs. I know where the danger. I know where like the key points are to position myself so that this guy isn't gonna wreck me. And yeah. So I don't need to do that anymore. And then yeah, so that's where I'm at with that. And that's the danger, man. I remember when I was starting out in judo, like I was it. Yeah, I got my yellow belt pretty fast, man. I think in a matter of 2 months or something like that, they gave it to me. But I already had a BJJ background, and I already uh, like I already had like I kind of already knew how to break fall. I was athletic already, and I learned a couple of judo moves here and there, from my first BJJ coach. So I was kind of a threat from the get go. And then I was going up against these black belts, and because they saw me as a threat, they just went hard. And one of them busted my knee. Actually, two of them busted my knee, and they were both different knees. And they, it is what it is, man. So that was that. Anyways, I forgot where I was going, but yeah, you get busted up in judo, man. There's ways to go about it, but if you guys were all like, I gotta make videos and show you guys how to do this shit properly, so you guys like could enjoy the sport and not get completely smashed and discouraged and all that. Okay, perfect. Next one. Maybe by accident could hurt someone. Oh yeah. I think you mean we're talking about judo. You're answering the question. Yeah, definitely. Okay, could hurt someone. I found that they are always hurting someone way more than 100%. Black belts, they'll throw you hard, but they'll throw you safe and they'll throw you clean, like, and then they hold you back too. Control, perfect. So yeah, you'll be like, wow, you'll be going for a ride, like flip around 360 in the air and all that, but then boom, lock you down properly, hold you, you're good. Clean, clean, clean. The white belts, they throw spazzy shit. Like sometimes they throw weird stuff at funny angles. They don't not sure what they're doing, and they hook your leg, and so you gotta be able to handle that crap. That's why when you put two white belts together, disaster. It's like never do that. Like I don't, unless and sometimes that's the thing, right? Like you got too many people in the class, people are rumbling, like yeah, matching them up, pairing them up. It's kind of not all schools are like down to doing that, or and that's why like in judo, it's the rule of thumb is for every 10 students you have to have one coach. So that means if you have 12 students, ideally you have like an assistant coach or a second coach, so it can help you supervise and like make sure everything like to run the class properly, so people don't get like you don't just hear people falling on the ground, like screaming all over the place, elbows getting popped, knees popping, shoulders popping, necks breaking, like sometimes, dude, like people just it's a crazy thing, man, so yeah. Maybe by accident could hurt someone. Oh, okay, wait, let me. Aha, okay. Yeah. Could someone have found that they're always running on more than the black belts? Okay, got this comment. All right, let me see here. When I was white belt, when practicing moves, I'd get sore or bruised with white belts. So yeah, you're right. See. I know what I'm talking about, right? This is like from experience, right? OG experience. Omar. Hey, Omar. How's it going, buddy? Yeah, I recognize all the name and the double name. So, I'm 56. Ooh, but in great shape. Love it. Love it. Yeah. Listen, dude, it's inspiring to me to hear guys when guys write to me in the comment section or or wherever, that they're older and they're in great shape, and they encourage me and they tell me like, yeah man, keep doing what you're doing, like you're doing good bro, blah 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 blah. So it's fun, man. It's fun. And like it's OG fitness because, well, it's OG fitness, right? Dude, guys, once you pass 25, you're no longer young. At 30, dude, like you could be an OG at this point, you know really. So, and then obviously the older you get, the older you get, but yeah, that's what it is. So back to the comment. 56 in great shape, been doing martial arts for over 25 years. Awesome. Was thinking of doing a little judo for a couple of pros. What do you think? Is it a good idea or am I too old? Hey, listen, if you're in great shape, go for it, man. Go for it. But of course, watch some of my videos on judo, like on how to avoid injuries, a couple of things I suggest here and there. And yeah, just be careful about that. Like learn how to break fall, and take it easy. Go with people like when you're in judo, like you want to go with higher level belts. Black belts don't hurt you. The older guys who have black belts, they have nothing to prove, so they'll teach you a lot of stuff. It's really cool, so you can learn throws. And then you could go with women judokas, who are good, who are really good, because they're good, and even though technically they're better than you, you still have enough strength and weight to like to play with them, to make it so that it's good practice for you. Also, one thing I found as well is that not just older guys with black belts, but and then the women with black belts, high level, like there's a lot of guys now that here's the thing. People will go as hard as you go for the most part. Like if you're like, if you could tell them beforehand, hey, I just want to practice my judo, so you don't focus too much on group fighting, just a little bit, grab your grips and then just play your judo. Like they're cool about it. It's when you try to destroy them, that's when they react. Their competitiveness comes out, and it's normal. Like these guys are, if they're these young guys who are competing and all that, and then you go hard on them, well, guess what they're gonna do? But if you're just working on technique and all that, definitely, I say go for it, man. That's my thing. Ooh, the cauliflower ear. I've got really bad cauliflower ears. Both my ears are so messed up. How did you avoid not getting one? Okay, so this is a funny story. I actually have a little piece in my ear here that's like hard, and I got this in doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So here's what I was taught regarding the ears. If you have flexible ears, like I got big ears, but they're very like mushy mushy, right? That's actually a Japanese word, mushy mushy. They say when they answer the phone, mushy mushy. But what I'm saying is it's flexible. Look at this, right? So I'm actually less prone to getting cauliflower ear. Not saying it's impossible, because I did get a little piece here that turned into a rock. So if you have more pliable ears like I do, okay, it's not going to be as bad. Now, one thing that you got to do, if you have ears that are rigid, like smaller or rigid, and then yeah, those ears, they just pop. Like you just get slapped like that, or somebody punches you here and they just blow up. So if you're one of those guys, you got to wear ear guards. Me, I don't wear ear guards. Like what I do is that I don't pull. I don't. I try to be more technical about what I do. So if I get if somebody has me like in a guillotine or some kind of headlock variant or stuff like that, I'm not going to try to rip my head out of like the tight spot, because when you do that, you mess up your ears. Like there's so much friction when you're pulling your head out like that. Like it's going to blow, you're going to damage your ears. There's that. Also, if you're like a wrestler and you constantly like just smash your head into the guy's hip, you smash it into their leg, like of course it's going to, bust up. So you want to be more technical about it. But even then, I mean, it could happen, right? In the heat of the moment and stuff. And you want to really get your takedown. So you go in really fast and smash it in. So I would suggest me, because I'm genetically predisposed to have flexible ears like that, so it's not as bad. But I'm very careful not to rip my head out of like crazy situations like that, you know. And if I feel they're heating up, then I back off. Like you have to be careful about that. But yeah, that's how I did it so far, and I feel that's fine. And of course, like if you're feeling, this is just a thought, but like I don't do it. But if I suggest that if you start, like if you carry around like a pair of ear guards for your ears, and then what happens is that if you're rolling and you start like, like feeling they're kind of warming up and stuff like that, just pull them out, put them on, or maybe put them on all the time. I know it looks funny and it's kind of like, but I mean, hey, it's your ears, it depends. Like, do you care that you have cauliflower ears or not? If you don't care, then you don't care. You want to look like a pure savage, go ahead. But then now you're going to have issues with like earbuds, uh, but if you do care, just wear them. That's all. No big deal, or like, do what I do, which is like you have to determine if your ears are flexy or not. If they're not, then yeah, wear the ear guards. If they're flexy, well, just don't like rip your head out of, horrible positions. All right, on to the next one. Okay, in MMA, if wrestling beat judo, who will win? In MMA, if wrestling versus judo, maybe, is that the question? Who would win? In MMA, man, I'm not quite sure what the question is. I'm trying to like phrase it here. So let's see now. In MMA, if wrestling be judo, who would win? Do you mean what you should choose? Okay, if you were to, if you had to choose between judo or wrestling for MMA, you would take MMA, hands down. Okay. I'm not saying judo wouldn't be useful. I'm just saying, no, like if you have to pick you have to pick which one to learn for MMA, you pick wrestling. Now, who would win? I don't know, man, because here's the thing. Wrestling, MMA wrestling and regular wrestling is different thing. Judo, okay, and like just pure judo and like judo adapted for MMA is a different thing as well. So if you take a judo guy versus a wrestling guy and you put them in MMA, man, I would say I would have to bet on. Don't know. It's going to depend on the individual, man. I would probably want, like, because judo guys don't tend to train like with the legs, like they can't attack the legs, and it's a lot of times it's with a gi. So I would probably bet more on the wrestler, to be honest. So that's my take on it. All right. Ooh, we're running on like over 2 hours now. Okay, so I'm going to take a couple more questions, guys, but then I'm going to call it a night. It's getting a little late, and I got to walk the dog. But I really appreciate everybody who was here tonight. Like, you guys are amazing, and I've been looking at like the eyeball on the top left. Top, was it left? Yeah, top my left anyway. And it's a great turnout, man. Like 14 people, 7 people, 12, and it stays like at this. It's I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out and chit chatting and shooting the breeze, shooting the shit. So let me go on for a couple of more here. Okay, if wrestling versus judo and MMA, who would win? Oh, okay, you wrote if wrestling versus judo and MMA, who would win? Okay, so I already answered that. Next, depends if they can have gi on. Well, probably no gi, because I mean it's MMA. MMA doesn't have gi, because if they did, it would be called sambo. Do you notice any difference in your athleticism once you turn 30? I don't know, because in my 20s, I was busy partying and doing like bad stuff, and so in my teens, I was doing a lot of sports and I was athletic, but then in my 20s, I wasn't doing anything. I was just partying all the time and, doing criminal shit, right? At 30 is when I actually got out of jail. So I wouldn't really know. Like I wouldn't be able to compare it in relative to my 20s. But at 30, that's when I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So, I started developing I already had some athleticism built into me in my teens. In my 20s, complete the complete shit show, to be honest. 30s when I started, when I came out of jail, that's when I was starting to train again. I discovered BJJ. I actually discovered BJJ in jail, which is pretty funny. And yeah, so I'm actually more athletic now because I'm more in tune with my body. But but I have more injuries and stuff like that. So a lot of times I won't go like super hard, like 100% as I could. I'll save that, but like I'm working on that, guys. So I have like back issues now, and knee issues, and ankle issues, shoulders, and like and even elbows and all that. But like I'm working to fix those. So over time, like stretching protocols, mobility protocols, yoga, you know, um, and then with time, I'm gonna add in more stuff that I could do, to help me with biohacking, to keep my joints healthy, and all this. I'm gonna share with you guys what works, what doesn't work, and then man, if my body was like injury free, I would be more athletic now than I was um, in my 20s. Mainly because like I'm more aware now. Like it's in the body now. Like I have, it's the skills are there. It's like it's imprinted into the mind, into the muscle, muscle memory, right? And my awareness, like body awareness, is like skyrocket, compared to what it was before, because I've been training so much, so my understanding, my fight IQ, everything is like leveling up. It's like ta 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 ta. Now, the challenge is going to be, am I able to keep my body intact so I could actually benefit from all this upgrade, all the software upgrade? Is it going to be good? Only good if hardware is upgraded as well or maintained, at a high level. So that's going to be the challenge here. And if I could do that, man, I'd be whooping ass for a long time. And that's the plan here, guys. Like, yeah, I can't use it. Told you. Now you're stuck with like what is that? What is it called? That shit, Dr. Dre, or like the big earmuffs. You get the big earmuffs. But it's okay, man. It looks cool. All right. Okay, if I practice wrestling 10 years and I have black belt in jiu-jitsu, but I have zero striking, is it dangerous for me to compete? Do you mean compete in MMA? Well, it's definitely riskier, but I mean, you would have to at least, if this is for MMA, then you would have to learn how to not get hit. Like you would have to learn defense, which is actually like, honestly, defense and striking, like striking sports, like boxing and kickboxing and all that shit. Like you should be practicing that like 50% of the time. 50% of the time, you should be training defense, because if you have like crappy defense, you have good offense, but your defense isn't like good, then you're gonna get hit so much, and then you just incur a lot of damage. So you would have to work on your defense a lot, right? So you could close the distance, take the full down, and then beat him up with jujitsu, and then like some ground and pound techniques on the ground. Like you don't. It doesn't take a million years to learn how to ground and pound properly. If you have like a good base of jujitsu and wrestling, yeah, you could do damage, man. You could Khabib. Like look at Khabib. His striking was horrendous when he came into the UFC. It was horrible. It was pure garbage. But he still just took fools down and beat the living shit out of them, right? So there you go. So you'd still be okay, bro. As long as you don't get knocked out. But I mean, yeah, you'll be fine. Just learn some defense, learn how to defend kicks and punches and angles and footwork and all that good stuff, and then closing that distance. You're gonna smash, man. You're gonna smish. All right. Okay, back when Kazushi Sakuruba was beating the Gracies, if Rickson Gracie would have fought him, who would you have put your bet on? I would, honestly, I think Sakuraba, man. I mean, there's a reason why Rickson Gracie kind of priced him out of that fight. He was like, "Oh, I want $1 million," and when you say stuff like that, Chael Sonnen talked about this. This is where I learned this from. Is that it's called pricing yourself out of the fight. So it's like, oh yeah, you want me? Okay. $1 million, I fight you. But you know damn well that no one's gonna pay $1 million to see your ass fight Sakuraba. So I guess that's what he did. Or maybe he just felt as though, whatever, like I'm tired of this shit. Like give me $1 million, I'll mess him up. Truth is, I would give it to Sakuraba because he was just on a tear. He was very creative. He was just like, completely like throwing the Gracies off their game and doing all kinds of stuff to them. They didn't call him Gracie Killer for no reason. But yeah, like you never know. But if I had to bet, Sakuraba. Pro wrestling, it's real. No, it's not real, guys. Kind of like okay, it's funny, right? But you look at Brock Lesnar. See, he came in, did well, into like he doesn't like to get hit, and that obviously we know how that ends. But then you had CM Punk. He came over and he didn't look good at all, man. It was pure like really really low level skill set when it comes to fighting. So yeah, it depends on the individual, man. I really like. I always say to guys, listen, it's about the martial artist. It's not about the art. Like the martial artist is going to be able to make something out of that. That's just what it is. Boom. Okay, Robert Keeney. I'm having a lot of fun, guys. So that's why like I'm just going on and rambling. Like I'm getting thirsty. I should have brought some water. Actually, water. No, none of that shit. I'm just trying to entertain you guys at the same time, and myself. All right. What are your thoughts on amount of time spent skill training, martial arts versus general fitness training, waist cardio? Okay, so I think that most of your time should be spent on skill training. Skills stay with you, and it could always be upgraded to like insane levels. Insane. Imagine you're training like you just upgrade your skill, your software, like for 50 years or 60 years. Holy crap. But with that said, you have to maintain like a minimum a minimum of physical fitness. So you need to lift, you need to resistance train, not necessarily weights. You could do body weight and all that, and you need to have good cardio as well, because you need strength, like to make things happen. You need muscle endurance to be able to have muscular endurance and to do stuff, right? You need cardio because like that's part of it all works together, right? So you have to have both these things. So I would say, let's say we slap it down to percentage wise. Man, I would say 80-20, man. I like the 80-20 rule, Pareto's law. So 80% of the time should be spent on what do you call it, on skill development, and after that 20% of your time should be like doing because you're already working your cardio when you're doing your what do you call it, your regular sparring and your drilling and all that, like that's general cardio. And then when you're blitzing it and you're doing like sparring sessions and randoris and all that, like you're working your cardio, like for sure. Now you still want to do at least but strength training, if you're doing a lot of skill training, martial arts, then you don't need that many sessions of weight training a week. Honestly, you get away with like 1 or 2. It depends on your ability to recover, but not more than 1 or 2, man, because you don't want to be fatigued for your martial arts training, which is like the most important thing. And you can still get really good results. People like think I'm crazy when I say that, but hey, everyone has their views on that. And I got science and information that I believe is super legit. So I'm going with that. And cardio, I like to do at least once a week now, like sprint training. So sprint just to get the VO2 max. You're like, really just run fast, take a break, go again, then take a break, because really like destroy the lungs and really, so it helps with the VO2 max, right? So at least one session of that, because sometimes it's hard to simulate. Like if it's not simulated in actual martial art training, it's a little bit hard. So you need that to get that extra cardio and all. But yeah, and I like to do, honestly, I like to be able to run for an hour. I find running for an hour is pretty legit, and then sprinting, good for VO2 max. So what I'm saying is that 80-20 rule. So maybe I would say, let's say 80% of the time. Now let's change it up a little bit. Let's call it 75% of the time skill training. Okay, then you have 25% left. So then 15% of the time you do weights, right? Resistance training, and then 10% of the time you take care of your VO2 max. So you do some sprints and shit, and do some general cardio too for fun, like go swimming or some shit like that. On your off days, right? Because you do want to take an off day at least once a week. Okay, so for recovery and just psychological break, but you could do active recovery. So you just go swimming or do something that's useful, but not too that's easy on the body. All right, that was a great question, by the way, Robert Kiani. Saw it, bro. Is there any conditions to your body if someone punch you on your liver? Like, is there any strengthening of your liver to be able to get hit without getting? Oh, if someone cracks you, now you're fucked. If you get cracked in the liver, man, like you're going down. You're like, it's like I'd never gotten hit there to the point where but I've seen guys and they just like you see it on boxing matches or whatnot, and the guys are just like, ugh! They keep moving and then you just like crumple over and die. So you can't train that. Of course, you could have muscle around it, that might soften, absorb some of the impact. But if you get like the best is not to get hit in the first place and not to get hit too much, like to be blocking those kind of things and being aware of it. So fight IQ comes into the equation here. But yeah, if it happens, then yeah, there's nothing it's like think of your chin. You can't train it. There's a limited amount of time that this thing can get cracked before your brain gets really damaged, and then after that, it's just like like Connor used to say, Conor McGregor, like a gust of wind, and then you just fall over, right? So, but of course, here, I mean, it heals, right? The liver. So, but yeah, you can't really condition for that, if that makes sense. Okay. And I'm 23 years old. Is it too late to? Oh no, of course not. Hell no, man. Hell no. Like people enter MMA like older, man. Like no, that's not old at all. But you got to get started, right? So I don't know what your background is, Saad, but start training, and then a year from now, if you're getting into it, a year from now, 6 months, 12, and when your coaches like tell you you're ready and you feel you're ready and you trust your coaches because they're good people, then it's go time, baby. Great channel, great stream, great answers, man. Oh shit, thank you, I appreciate that, man. Honestly, this is the first stream, so I really I'm having a lot of fun here, man. It's going on like it's about 2 hours and a half now, because I actually started earlier. I thought like I was just like had the, what do you call it, like the screen that tells you starting soon, which is kind of cool. But then I was just on it, and then I just saw a whole bunch of guys popping in. I was like, holy shit. Okay, all right. Well, let's fucking go. Yeah. Last question. Don't worry about it, man. I'll shut up in due time. Like I like this. This is good, man. And I think that if you guys enjoy this, then yeah, I'm definitely gonna keep doing this. And yeah, I'll post a thing in the community tomorrow. On the channel to see like how often you guys want me to do this. But I'm thinking maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks. We'll see. Last question. How many years to be able to block judo throw from black belt? And thank you, bro, for your answer. Block. Okay. It's going to depend what level your black belt guy is, right? Like if the black belt is like Shohei Ono, we're probably not going to block that in our lifetime, to be honest. We're going to get smashed. He's going to do what he wants with us. Because there's a lot of factors: experience, power, speed, setup, like all kinds of crap. So yeah. And but let's call it a regular black belt. So what do I mean by regular? A regular black belt is probably going to be a guy who's been doing maybe judo for like, let's say, about 10 years. 10, 15 years, has been competitive, but isn't like national level. Okay, because once you get national, once a guy's been on the national team, like yeah, there's a lot of catching up to do. But let's say he's been doing judo for like 10, 20 years, and he's been competing here and there, and he's in relatively good shape. I would say, hmm, it depends on your capabilities too. Your athletic abilities, like where you're at and how often you train and all that. But let's say you were to train like a good 2-3 times a week, and like you're a student of the game, and you really like you drill a lot. You're really focused when you're training and all that. Like I'd say in about a year to 2 years. Yeah, a year to 2 years, or maybe even a little bit faster, right? So anywhere between, yeah, maybe, yeah, 6 months is still pretty early, man. Like at 6 months, I was still getting smashed, you know. Yeah, a year to 2 years, to be honest, right? And even then, you're not going to be blocked. You might not be blocking all of them, and it really depends on the dude in front of you. Like size matters as well. But yeah, yeah. So 1 or 2 years, right? So that's a cool question, though. All right, guys. So I think we're at the end. That was really the last question, Saad. So that was the last question, like on the scroll down, and that was the last question that you're asking. So, hey, guys, it was freaking awesome. I had a lot of fun. Maybe I get rid of duck there, but I like duck. Maybe that's my new logo, duck from Nintendo. Hey, you guys ever notice my nose is crooked? That's because I got punched in the face once and it just went like that. It was a bar fight, you know. Yeah. You're welcome, Saad. Like, my pleasure, man. Like, I'm here. I love talking about this shit. And honestly, like, if I could provide you guys values and tips and tricks and things that are going to help you along your journey and all, for the young guys as well as the guys who are like my age or a little bit older, it's all good, man. This is what the community is about. So I'm really having a lot of fun here. I should have started this like a lot earlier. My wife told me this like 3 years ago, and now I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do this live stream, and she's like, yeah, I told you 3 years ago. Okay, wait. One last question here from Wrestling Judo MS. Okay, is this a club? OG, do you believe there's a concept such as oversleeping? Although I'm aware of active recovery, longer hours of sleep seem to work well for me. Dude, you're talking to Mr. Sleeping Beauty here. I sleep like a mofo, and everybody's different. So the standard is, like most people need anywhere between 7 to 9 hours. That's your standard. So you have to find out where you are in that. And some people would like, there are outliers that need less and that could function really well, but that's outliers, right? Exceptions. And then you have people who are at an extreme, like at 9 it starts to get extreme. But also, if you're a type of person that can sleep a lot, like 8-9 hours, easy, right? And on top of that, you train, guess what? You're going to sleep even more. Now, what's even suggested for athletes? I remember reading this in a book called uh, Nutrition for Sports Optimization, yada, yada, yada. It's a pretty old book, but like really well researched and written by like a really scientific sports dude. And they were talking about like sleeping, get this, like 10 hours a night, okay, plus 1 hour naps for high level athletes. Like, because when you push your body, you do need time to recover. So I think long sleep seems to work well for me. Yeah. So sleeping is like numero uno. So what I'm trying to say is that one of the reasons why I believe I look so young for my age, like right now, there's lighting. I do have some wrinkles, but I haven't been putting cream and all that. But if I start like just moisturizing my face, like I'm looking pretty good. I think I've been drinking a little bit too much coffee. Anyways, coffee raises cortisol, by the way, so you want to reduce your stress. Um, One of the reasons why, yes, I'm Asian and I look young. I can't grow a beard, and so I have like good, decent genes for anti-aging. But at the same time, I sleep a lot. Like when I was in jail, I think I was there for like 18 months. That was my last stint. Like I must have slept half of that shit. Like just sleep, whatever, wake up, eat something, whatever, just sleep again, you know? Like really, like I could sleep a lot. So oversleeping, nah, you know, like when, you know, but it is important, like the quality of sleep that you get, and also it's always better to sleep throughout the night. You know, so ideally you want to be to bed like anywhere between 10 at night, and then wake up like around 6, or if you go over, you go over, whatever. But you don't want to sleep like after. I find after midnight, that's when it starts to like mess up your circadian rhythm, because you remember your body follows the rhythm of the planets, right? The sun, the moon, and all that. It does affect us in a big way. So if you follow that cycle, you'll be good, right? But if you go off that cycle, then it's gonna throw you off. Like if you start sleeping at 3 in the morning, even if you sleep 3 in the morning to like 3 in the afternoon, okay. But the thing is, it's off. Like you have to, it's throwing your system off. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, I hope that made sense, man. Let me just add something to this. Oversleeping. Well, I mean, not really, man. You sleep as much as you need to. And in an ideal world, like, in this day and age, everyone's lacking sleep. Nobody's sleeping too much, except for maybe me and maybe you. But most people are not getting enough sleep. That's why they're all sorts of fucked up. So, get some sleep, man. Oversleeping, like, but, unless you're like lazy and, just sleep, like, no, like if you need, if you're like, ideally you go to bed early enough and then you wake up naturally. When you wake up naturally, you just like, you just come up and you're like, I gotta move, I gotta do something. That's when you're ready to go, right? That's like the natural order of things. So we're actually a very sleep deprived society. So if you're able to get like a lot of sleep, get some sleep. It's going to keep you young, keep you strong, recover you, so you're stronger, you have more energy, less prone to injuries, all that good stuff. Keep the cortisol levels down, growth hormone, you're going to get bigger muscles into, and all that too. So sleep is like numero uno. You research that on like on YouTube, there's a lot of studies coming out about sleep and basically how like literally it could solve like so many illnesses that people have. And it's just like, yeah, just go to sleep, man. It's free too. Awesome, man. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, man, Asian Ming. I didn't know if you were 15. 15. Okay, I act 15. I give you that. But 16 at least. 55, like 24. Yeah, thanks, bro. All right, guys, let's call it a night. Thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate that. And I'll see you guys in the next one, and I'll make a post about it tomorrow. See like how you guys enjoyed that, and maybe see how often you guys want me to do this, because if this could be a regular thing. Honestly, I had a lot of fun, and holy crap, yeah. All right, guys. Peace.